Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes. How about that? A walk-off, two-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry.
Todd Hamilton, who else? Guardians radio, what a moment. Perloff down to their final strike. People are saying down to their final out. Yeah, that too. Down to their final strike. And the Guardians come back to rally and to win this game in extras. They get on the board in Game 3 of the ALCS. It's 2-1 Yankees, but Cleveland has officially made this a series. That was one of the most exciting baseball games I've seen.
Yeah, it was amazing. It reminded me a little bit of, depending on what happens on the series, Jermaine Kearse had that crazy catch in the Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl.
Okay.
Right, the bobbling catch, and it would have been one of the great plays in Super Bowl history, but the Seahawks didn't win the game, so it fell to the wayside. This game will be defined by what happens the rest of the series. If the Guardians go on to win this series, it is going to be one of the great underdog stories of all time, down to your last out. But if the Yankees go on to win, I don't think it will be as memorable.
Well,
so I think the history has not been written on this game yet. Then again, Carlton Fisk's famous home run where he's...
Yeah.
I think they lost that series, right?
So it's funny because I'm thinking about this. I think it means more because it was the Yankees. I think
right,
it always means more.
What if they don't win the series, though?
Well...
Then
we gotta get there. I don't know. I want to live in the moment for a second because I think that's what the Guardians should be doing. You know?
No, you have a series, Mag. You can't live in the moment. There's no moment in baseball. It's a 7-game series.
I know, but I think, can we bask in the glow of this for a second? Because for as many as Yankee fans are all across the country and the globe, there's as many Yankee haters. You've got so many people who are rooting against the Yankees so hard, especially now that Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge are starting to hit, and they have back-to-back home runs in this game off Emmanuel Clase, which we will talk about. But if there's any, the poster child for, Yankee dominance are these two 6'6" guys who are
the bullies, the neighborhood bullies.
Right. In real life, they're nice guys. But
but it feels like they're the expensive, brawny team. They are as classic Goliath as there is.
It's and the Guardians, Goliath.
The Guardians became David. Yeah, although they are big, they're big David.
Yeah, no, they got some big boys on their team too. But you know what I'm saying? There's a symbolism to this, right? Which is Yankees. I know they've been down for a while. They've won a World Series since 2009. But what is the image of the Yankees, who called themselves the Evil Empire, and these twin tower guys who hit back to back in this lineup? Add in Juan Soto if you want to, and you have, just these mammoth dudes.
Yeah.
And you took them down. And you took them down with pinch hitters. You took them down with guys who are just grinding. And this has been, listen, the Guardians are a good team. They wouldn't be one of the Final Four teams if they're not. But the fact that they rallied in this way and have made this a series and got themselves off the mat, I thought it was over. I thought it was over because, and we're going to talk to Ryan Dempster later on in the show, and I'm so glad we have a former pitcher on the show today, Pearl, because Emmanuel Clase gave up 2 home runs in the regular season.
Yeah.
And now he's given up 3 home runs in the postseason, including those back-to-backs to Judge and Stanton, as I mentioned, that tied the game and then took the lead for the Yankees. And as a pitcher, how do you move past that?
Yeah.
Because he is going to be still so important if the Guardians are actually going to come back and win the series and make that David Fry home run an all-time.
Yeah, even the way you're talking about it now, it just feels like you're leaning too heavily in that narrative. They play tonight. So I think there's no basking in the glory. Now, here's another question. If you're the Yankees, do you get tight after this? Because it felt they must have thought we won this game. I mean, I think that's a natural inclination. is that going to carry over? Is that like such a big 2 home runs that's going to win the next game for them? Are the Yankees going to get out of their game? Are they going to get into their head? I feel like the Yankees historically is a team that can get in their own head.
Well, you have to wonder because the whole linchpin of this thing for the Yankees, and we talk about Judge, we talk about Stanton and the symbolic, like Juan Soto, the expensive looming free agent, but the real linchpin here for the New York Yankees has been Luke Weaver.
Oh,
you don't know him. Nobody knew him.
Okay.
And Luke Weaver has been this guy who's come in to become the closer for the Yankees. And all of a sudden, like Cinderella story, if the Yankees can have such a thing, he comes out of nowhere to become this charismatic, cool character, wiry kind of guy who became their closer when Clay Holmes couldn't hold the job anymore. And so if Weaver gets all rattled, the Yankees bullpen was the reason why you had Yankee fans basically crying into their Bud Lights all year because they thought there's no way this team's going to be able to hold up because the bullpen is so bad. And Luke Weaver came and stabilized everything at the back of the bullpen, and he has been one of the major stories of the Yankees. We'll give Aaron Judge all the credit and Stanton being a postseason monster. It's been Luke Weaver. If he's rattled Perloff, it could be over for New York.
My counter, though, is, come on, if Aaron Judge is going to be awake like this, it might not be over. I mean, come on. All I heard,
Luke Weaver's a big part
I live
of this.
amongst Yankee fans, and all I heard was, well, Judge isn't really hitting. Judge isn't hitting. Now that he's hitting, I'm not sure it's going to come down to Luke Weaver. I think if those guys, because the Guardians really needed a miracle here. So again, I'm questioning your narrative here that you might be jumping on this too soon.
We'll see what wins in the postseason.
Yeah, but
Pitching and defense.
Again, but what actually doesn't carry over in the postseason? Anything. Every time they walk out, anything that you learned in the last game is completely gone in the next game. Yeah. My experience, you have to hear my experience watching this game.
Oh, please tell me.
So it was a bit of a reunion with some old college buddies. Last night we were at Keen's Steakhouse, which is a classic New York City steakhouse.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. I had no idea you were at Keen's.
But you won't be jealous when you hear about how I watched the game. So dinner's over and we go to watch the late innings of the game. There are 50 finance bros wearing the vest. There's a commercial out where the woman wears the vest. Finance bros in the sort of uniform.
It's a fleece vest generally.
Yes.
Could be puffer, but it's generally fleece, and it generally has the name of your company.
Yes, it had
JP Morgan.
I was sitting next to a blue City vest.
City, sure.
Watching, and this is
every credit card you have, they're wearing that.
Yes.
Or whatever your financial person is.
These guys were eating red meat, and when I literally saw the Judge and Stanton homers, and they're fist bumping as if they are Judge and Stanton. And I'm like, this is the ultimate machismo mail room, and
and you.
And me, yeah, no, I'm sitting the nerd in the corner.
You're at the Dartmouth table.
No, I did not fit in. I don't fit in this crowd at all. Like, I wish I was a finance bro because those guys are so rich. It's crazy. Anyway, so they were sure they were celebrating all night, and they were celebrating up until the Noel home run. And then to see these guys, these captains of industry, as you said, crying to their Bud Lights was quite a scene.
I mean, knowing that there's sad finance bros out there somewhere makes me kind of happy today.
Well, you said like they're the classic
also, don't kill our
Goliath
economy.
Yeah, they're the classic, favorite, the team that it's easy to root against. Totally. Although it is, I as a neutral fan, I'm a Phillies fan. Yeah. I do like Judge. I mean, it's fun to see him wake up.
Listen, I mean, he's an exciting guy, one of the best hitters in the league for sure. But yeah, I love the vest guys. We're all sad last night. Oh, go cry into your Connecticut mansions. Something tells me those guys are going to be okay. 855-212-4227 if you want to weigh in on what happened last night in this amazing baseball game. Again, if you missed it, Cleveland down to their final strike.
By the way, then I had to walk out of the steakhouse and go to the Subway, and I passed a pizza shop with a bunch of Mets fans.
If that's not the truth, if you don't live in New York, that is exactly the finance bros are at the steakhouse bar having their bourbon, watching the Yankees, and the Mets fans are at a pizza shop watching on a probably not even a flat screen TV, an old school TV, maybe a little grainy, and just like talking like this. And that's what it is.
Wait, these are cliches. Is this really,
No, that's it. It's not accurate. A cliche. How do you think it became a cliche? Because it's so true.
I was in cliche land last night with the Yankees.
People ask for a slice here. What do you want with this? that a lot of you think I slap the table a lot. I learned it from going to pizza spots in New York.
Do you think there's any way? I mean, it feels like MLB wants to engineer, and not that they're doing anything to do this, but a Yankees-Dodgers World Series sure seems like that'd be a thing.
I consider it a makeup call for last year's Diamondbacks and Rangers, which, listen, it was fine. It's just if you're talking about, market size and stars and stuff like that, not that they don't have them. It's just to have Ohtani and Judge going head-to-head. And now Mookie Betts has been awesome. We can talk about the NL side of this. You got a lot of sad Met fans, including me today, because, this is what's sad about the NL side of it. And, again, you're welcome to call in on all of this. We have plenty of football for you, too. It's a big college football weekend. But this is where I was especially bummed last night as a Mets fan. So this whole run has been all about comebacks. It's been all about when you're down and you're desperate in these late innings, and once you get to the bullpen and the Mets finding ways to just come back on in series that they may not had no business winning. Maybe they did. I don't know. But it's the bottom of the sixth inning, and you've got bases loaded, and you're down 7-2. And to be honest, during this Mets run, this is where it would have happened.
Yep.
Right? Maybe it's a Lindor grand slam. Maybe it's, just a rally. Maybe it's, whatever way they've been able to do it in the past. And they left the bases loaded. It was bases loaded, no outs, and they could not bring a run home. And that's where it's like, oh, well, maybe the magic is over because OMG and Grimace and all of the totems that the Mets, have had, it's like, did the luck run out a little bit? Because they would have delivered in those moments. Like, that's how they've been doing it all postseason.
Well, they have a little magic feel. Maybe they come back for 3-1. Any hope? Okay. By the way, Andrew Bogusch will come in. I was thinking all night that he's taking his 11-year-old son to the game tonight. It's tonight, right?
Yep. They get to see the Temptations. A win.
The Temptations, the band?
Yeah, they're singing the national anthem and singing "My Girl" before the first pitch.
Oh, because that's Lindor's walk-up song.
So
more embarrassing.
If the Mets somehow come back, I'm going to be hearing "My Girl" the rest of the fall.
Yes.
Oh, for the next 20 years.
It's a pretty good song, so I'll take that.
I have a question. How many members of the original Temptations are still even in this band?
Good question.
Ryan, you can get on that, please.
I'm a big Temptations fan. There's a great made-for-TV movie about their backstory. Oh, my God, did they have drama.
I'm sure. All those Motown bands and stuff from that time.
I feel like the Temptations took it to a new level because they were so talented. Anyway, is there a Temptations play on Broadway, too? Is it the real Temptations or the guys in the play? Probably the real Temptations.
That's a good question, though.
Is there a Temptations play?
I think so. I think it came out during the pandemic.
It's a great time to be going to the theater.
It's called Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. And I think it was supposed to be outstanding, kind of like Jersey Boys.
Yeah.
About
Frankie
Valli, which I've never seen, but I've always wanted to see. Have you ever seen it?
It's really good. I did see it, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Temptation. Okay, I can see this. See, I'm telling you not to give up on Mets fans.
I'm not going to give up because, you never know with this team. But that was a moment I was like, oh, well, you got Ohtani and you've got Betts hitting. And you got the guys in the bottom of the lineup who are, you got the 700 million guys are hitting, and then you got the 700,000 guys are hitting. It's like, uh-oh. And listen, the Mets have themselves to blame because the pitchers and the pitching staff have issued 31 walks in 4 games. What do you think's going to happen when you have all those guys on base?
You could say the Dodgers have a discerning eye.
That, or they just lost command, or I don't know. Anyway, 855-212-4227. You got a classic, an all-time classic baseball game last night between the Yankees and the Guardians. Were you rooting against the Yankees? Be honest, America. Perloff? In a steakhouse with the finance
No,
pros?
I'm deeply a National League fan, so I'm neutral on the Yankees Guardians, but that was really exciting. Now I'm kind of into the Guardians because that would be an all-time story. But again, there's another game tonight. If the Yankees win this, then it'll quickly fade into history, which is a shame. Otherwise, it's going to be the Big Christmas is going to be part of our lives. A great nickname. Oh, my God, a good nickname.
John Kenzie Noel, a.k.a. Big Christmas.
By the way, you were saying
Big pinch hit.
You were saying that the new Bash Brothers, Judge and Stanton, are big. Big Christmas is a good 6'3", 260, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen Naylor,
Yeah.
first baseman for the Guardians?
Yeah,
That dude
yeah.
looks like he could play offensive line.
Yeah. So it's not like these Cleveland Guardians are this little team out of nowhere. They're not.
I know.
They're not exactly the team from Hoosiers. They're pretty good too.
Yeah, payroll-wise, a little different. 855-212-4227. Okay. Gosh, do we have so much. We have baseball from last night, of course. There actually was a football game last night, if you want to call it that.
Sort of.
Kinda.
That was a disgrace to football.
Yeah.
Not awesome. Although, I do have opinions about it. Even as bad as it was, I do have opinions on that Saints-Denver game. We also have a massive weekend that we got to get you set for, from college football to the NFL. And there could be another superstar on the move in the NFL. We got some quotes that came out yesterday that have us raising an eyebrow. Could an all-pro be on the move? Another one. It's Maggie and Perloff on this Friday. Good morning.
Maggie, I am so pumped. Football season heating up. We got baseball, WNBA still going down, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action while watching any of these sports with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. I'm not sure how you did last night. I was a winner. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Easy to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less in their projection, and you could win up to 100 times your money.
Okay, I'm on a streak right now. I'm on a little bit of a heater, so I almost don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it. But I'm on a little bit of a heater here with Prize Picks. I did not even need Flex Play because I didn't need to cash out because my picks have been hitting. Thank you, Aaron Judge. Thank you to...
Matt, did you... Oh.
It was Bo Nix rushing yards. Yes!
Mine was Bo Nix under passing yards.
Also a winner.
I actually showed the bros at Keen's last night Prize Picks. I'm not kidding. I was following Bo Nix last night. I pulled out my phone and showed them Prize Picks, and now there's like 4 more people into it.
Amazing. Well, now the finance bros are on. Now it's no longer our little secret, and it should not be your secret either. All you got to do is download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code M&P, not MAND-P. It's M&P.
Man-P actually technically works.
It does
Spelled the same.
work. Get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code M&P, M-A-N-D-P on Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Fun night last night for baseball. Not so fun for football. Broncos destroy the Saints, what's left of the Saints. Maggie, you say you have some takes off this game.
I do.
I can't wait to hear them because I'll tell you right now, I'm having trouble believing that what we saw means anything for the Broncos last night. But if you saw something there, I want to hear it.
Well, my thoughts on this aren't actually as much about the Broncos. I don't really know what to make of Bo Nix at this point. This is really interesting because at some points he can make some plays with his legs, but there are 2 plays in this game where he is throwing to a receiver, and I don't even know how you do this once, let alone twice.
Yeah.
He throws it in between 2 of his own receivers. I'm saying perfectly equidistant between one and the other. Like, who were you throwing to?
Incredibly wide open receivers.
Yes, very wide open. There was a lot of wide open people not making plays last night on both sides, but how do you do that twice? You're either over through the guy or under through the other guy, and it's impossible to tell because it landed right in the middle on the turf.
I know, and he actually, there's certain throws Bo Nix can make. He seems to be able to hit the tight end about 11 yards downfield. Then there are throws to the outside that Bo Nix looks like a rookie times 10.
Well, if you and I can even see that his footwork is that jacked up, then what is Sean Payton's got to be like sick to his stomach? Also, fix it. But meanwhile, they won the game last night. They ended up putting a little bit more distance because there was a fumble at the end of the game, a fumble that was returned for a touchdown, made it look worse than it was.
I can't. How could it be worse than it was? This was not a game in any way. If they could just score a touchdown on a field goal, I never thought that game was non-competitive 6 minutes in.
Yeah,
you could tell the Saints did not show up.
Yeah, Will Lutz, really the MVP, the guy nailing 50-yarders for the Broncos. Because here's the other part about the Broncos, and then I'll get to my point about the Saints, which I think is the more important one. But they have a drive. I believe it was their second or third drive of the game, and they had a 4th and 1, and they went for it with a quarterback, or maybe it was a 3rd and 1. They went for it with a quarterback sneak. Is my point. And then later in the next drive, it's a 4th and 1. You're in the red zone. You're up 3-0. And you decide to kick the field goal. I get it from a game playing standpoint. You're playing against Spencer Rattler. The Saints stink. You're not going to need a lot of points to win this game. But why do the quarterback sneak earlier in the game and not at this point in the game?
Well, I mean, I think 6-0 was an insurmountable lead against because
You're right.
I don't know what Spencer Rattler did to that offensive line, but they had no interest in protecting him for even 3 seconds last night. It was basically a free rush to the quarterback every single play.
Yes.
Every single play. There wasn't one time at Spencer Rattler until it got into junk time where he actually sat in the pocket.
6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 was for a pick 6. It was a disaster. So, yeah, my bigger opinions are on the Saints side of this thing, which is it did look like the team quit.
You think?
Well, but this is the second year in a row where I think there were some allegations of maybe some loafing and dogging. So, or no, I'm sorry. Last year, the Jameis Winston openly defied head coach Dennis Allen and decided to score a touchdown late in the game. Remember that? And
Right,
now it
that's a
looks like the
little
team is quitting on the head coach.
Right. But, I mean, the team, when you say the team, like what's...
The defense.
Yeah, but what's left of the team? I mean, I don't know if those guys are really hurt, but the entire defense checked out of the game with an injury. There's nobody there. The offense is already down to fourth stringers all across the board. Now the defense, everybody was gone. I mean, you couldn't even watch the game. The sideline reporter kept coming back on and being like, this Saints defender is out for the game. This Saints defender is out for the game. This is ridiculous. It's a mass unit. This isn't even a real team anymore.
So this was Richard Sherman. We've got it from halftime of the Amazon broadcast. Here's what he said about the Saints.
I'm confused. I'm vexed. I'm perplexed. I don't get it. They don't want to tackle. They don't want to make plays. These are good players. Tyrann Mathieu is a good player. Why the easiest interception of his life to send him to number 36 and he drops it. I see guys not having effort to get to the ball carrier, to make tackles. Like, I don't understand this. It seems like they want to get their coach fired. That's the effort they're playing with.
All right. So, I mean, maybe Richard Sherman's just sort of feeling himself and kind of just riffing there, but also it did look like they couldn't tackle. And he is talking about Tyrann Mathieu, who dropped a wide open interception, and maybe that's just a lapse in focus for a minute.
No defensive back in the history of the sport has ever dropped an interception to show up as coach. Like, everybody wants the interception.
That's true. Yeah, that one I don't think was intentional.
No. I mean, well, obviously it also... Marshawn Lattimore went out, I guess, so everyone's like, wow, hamstring injury, or is he just quitting? But he's been suffering with that hamstring injury, and then Paulson Adebo broke his leg. That was not good.
Yeah, that was one
bad.
Of those,
I mean,
please don't show me the replay ones.
We were joking about it yesterday. Like, how are you supposed to win a football game with that wide receiving core? Maggie, I mean, maybe they quit, but who are these guys? These are practice squad players who are playing a real game, and Spencer Rattler... Poor guy. He had no chance. I actually like the way he throws the football. I'm into Spencer Rattler. I don't think you are as much. And they might go to Jake Haener, the other backup. I have no idea. I thought Spencer Rattler comported himself well in an impossible situation. He
was in an impossible situation. You're absolutely right about that. And his Denver's defense is a top 5 unit. I mean, they looked at last night, but are they really? They look good. Again, but the competition was not there. That Paulson Adebo, did that go through the skin?
I don't know.
They didn't say, right? I didn't. I looked away.
It's definitely the ambulance. Was the ambulance? He was on the way to the hospital like not long after it happened.
Well, the Kaylee Hartung update was he's on the cart. They put him in that air cast thing, and he's going straight to the X-ray room. I'm like, I don't think he needs the X-ray room. I think we know something is severely broken. Why don't we just take this guy straight to the hospital? I think they did.
I mean, okay, so it's a Thursday night game, and obviously Dennis Allen has no future there. Like, this is his last year with New Orleans. So do you fire him midseason, or do you just let him ride it out? Because I feel like they kept him around. I think a lot of people were surprised that they haven't moved on before because he hasn't had success there. The Bucs now own the division. Do you fire him today, or do you just let ride it out? He's like, what's the point?
I don't know. Does it look like Clint Kubiak's ready to take over this team? It's kind of like setting up to fail if you're that guy. And he could be a rising star or offensive coordinator at some point. I don't know if you want to take that job. Sometimes guys they'll be offered interim and they just say, no thanks. I don't want to have the stink on me of being the interim in a sinking ship.
Kubiak's 37. You're right. He feels like he's going to definitely get job offers this year. Although that little Saints run at the beginning of the season feels like a long time ago.
It does. Andrew Bogusch is here. You were looking perplexed before. No?
I don't remember now why I might have looked perplexed.
Okay. Maybe just watching
Maybe just trying to figure out Bo Nix's footwork.
That might have been it. I mean, it is on our screen, so it's hard not to watch all of that.
Did you hear us talking about you and your son in the earlier segment?
I did. It is definitely not the day I had planned for me and young Jake, but we'll see.
Hey, you could be in the building for an all-time epic comeback, too.
That's the sell. The sell is we start the comeback today.
Could be like Red Sox, Yankees 04.
Our presence in Queens today is what the Mets need to get a hit in a big spot.
Will he cry if they lose?
No.
Will you cry if they lose?
No.
TBD.
No. So Jake's 11 or 10?
He'll be 11 in December.
Right. So I would think that's a must-cry situation. I'm not saying that to any 11-year-old kid, not Jake in specific.
Kid to cry, Pearl.
I don't know. Yeah, I do want a kid to cry. I want my kid to cry if the team loses. Sure.
No, he's not gonna cry. He's not a crier in general. I'm assuming if things don't go well tonight, we'll get back in the car and he'll be back on his phone watching some idiot play a video game on YouTube, and he'll be fine.
See, maybe that's a silver lining for this generation, everyone being totally addicted to their phones. Really get over the losses a lot faster.
I have to be honest. The famous story, I went out, I was killing time in Long Island, went to see Jake's team play baseball.
Yeah.
They got mercy ruled, and after the game, Jake was immediately on his phone watching a game. Didn't seem to care. And partly because he was the best player on his team, and the rest of the team got mercy ruled, not Jake.
There might be a day where I have to talk to Jake about caring more about things, but that's not where we are yet.
Well,
not that he doesn't care, but he might want to have a little more connection to the outcome.
what
of
do
the
you
game.
want? With that team, you give him a Tim Tebow halftime speech? That wasn't happening, Bogus.
We had a bad flag football practice last night, and I actually in the car going home, I said, I'm very proud of you for not being a putz like some of your teammates.
Did they look like the Saints?
No, they're just
Were they taking their cues from Dennis Allen?
no. Well, I don't know that anybody outwardly talked back to Dennis Allen last night. We've got some chumps on this 10 and 11-year-old flag football
Are you
team.
coaching?
Oh, man.
I'm an assistant coach.
And they were talking back to you?
No, they know better. No, they don't. I happen to not be the one saying anything in the moment. I'm
How
sure
do you
they
talk
do.
back at a flag football practice about what?
So, there's just a lot of pouting on the team as opposed to like when teammates. Let's not be mad that Johnny missed a throw. Let's you can have fun, or somebody drops a pass, go call him whatever, Butterfingers, make a joke like that, but not be like, hey doofus, catch it. Too much negativity.
So like Stephon Diggs yelling at Josh Allen? What's going on
Yeah,
here?
that's a good thing. We're a team full of prima donna wide receivers.
Diva wide receiver.
Wow. And I'm sure they've all earned it.
I feel like the new 7-on-7 generation of football, we're creating a lot of diva wide receivers.
lot
Everyone
of
wants
monsters.
the targets.
Yes.
It's all about the targets.
So
Well, how are you going to get that sweet, sweet NIL money if you're
Yeah,
not
yeah, no.
getting targets in your flag football game when you're 11?
Yeah, it starts early. If you haven't signed a deal by the time you're 11, you're
Right.
behind the 8 ball in the NIL game.
and the guy from A&S Bagels in Franklin Square, New York, was at the field watching his practice, ready to hand out those NIL cash. So I think there's some pressure.
Those $100 handshakes from A&S Bagels? Oh, wow.
Man, if you could dip into that
Boosters already?
A&S money.
That's-
No wonder the wide receivers were talking back. Like, this is big money.
It's a lot on the line, even
Listen,
on a Thursday night practice.
You better hope that you keep these kids happy. They're going to H&H Bagels next season. They're going to hit the portal. You think they're the only bagel game in town? No way.
Oh, man, that's so funny.
That rainbow bagel money, that stuff. There's enough dye in there to kill a small village. I'm sorry.
I heard a really good take, and this is related to Jake's team, that the reason we're seeing more wide receivers get pouty like George Pickens is because there's so much money going to receivers now. They're getting $35 million that their agents are telling them, you got to get targets because you're about to get super rich. So now we've created an NFL where all the wide receivers are all about me, even more than ever. And apparently it's trickling down.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You don't think that any of what Terrell Owens did was about money?
Yeah, but it feels like now it's like now the wide receiver is like the mini quarterback. Like I do think the money has changed that position. Yeah, like there's a wide receiver on some team I can't remember who actually blocks, and the announcer's like, "Yeah, you don't see that anymore." like basically wide receivers are more upset about targets than ever before. I'm seeing it all around the league. Have you noticed that guys are like, "I need targets. I need targets. I need targets."
I mean, yeah. I'm seeing that most notably, I think, with the Bengals, but a lot of teams.
Yeah, but did anybody wear the eye black like George Pickens? Like I'm open.
With the F word on it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So I won't be there Sunday morning. I got a report on Sunday morning's game. We'll see if anybody's
I might come
wearing-
out for this one. I love watching flag football.
This is where, I mean, obviously, Perloff, I know you love your daughters. Their daughters are your life. You're a great dad and great girl dad. But I feel like this is where you probably wanted a son to do the flag football stuff. Not that she can't, not that your daughters can't play, but they're just not into it.
No, now a lot of girls play flag football. You're right. They unfortunately inherited a lot of my athletic ability, which is not so good. Not so good.
Stick with the theater.
Are they as flimsy as you? Do they get hurt a lot, or?
I don't think I'm flimsy. I think I'm a grit guy who just gets down and dirty, and like I'll have some injuries. What do you mean flimsy?
Well, you do call us and text us multiple times from many doctors' offices
Yeah.
all around the city.
I did have a basketball player in my run say the season hasn't started officially until Pearl gets injured. And that happened week 1. I jammed my left index finger.
I know, and then text us from the emergency room. Like
Oh, my
he
God.
just got shot.
I walk into the emergency room on a Saturday morning. They're like, it's like Norm from Cheers. It's like, Andrew, welcome back. What is it, the knee, the ankle? What do you got going?
You have
Both.
your foot doctor on speed dial. He's been a guest on this show. You've taken his Knicks tickets. Like, you guys have a deep relationship with your doc.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a frequent visitor.
But, I mean, listen, I think I'm a normal weekend warrior. We're all hurt.
I don't know. I haven't bled yet on this show. You've had stitches since we've been together.
Oh,
That's
my
true.
God. I have stitches all over my body from basketball.
Okay, that's my point.
Yeah. Well, I think you're not trying hard enough.
Just like your flag football team.
The bench is safe.
Yeah, you're like a Saints defense safety right now.
All business decisions over here.
Yeah.
Let's get to the headlines.
I assume that my good friend Mr. Perloff still thinks the Mets have the Dodgers right where they want
Right
them,
where they want
but
them.
they most certainly do not.
Now Mayton's 2-2. Bet swings, hits a high fly ball, left field, going back Nimmo on the track, at the wall. It is out of here. Mookie Betts watched that one fly from the batter's box, admiring a 2-run blast.
Steven Nelson on Dodgers radio. Mookie Betts, 4 hits, 4 RBI, 3 runs scored in LA's third rout of the Mets in this NLCS. This one was 10-2. The Dodgers 3 wins by a combined score of 27-2. Manager Dave Roberts is impressed.
I love the way that our guys haven't let off the gas in the sense of, I think that, the outcome of the last 2 games, certainly if you watch the games, doesn't tell the story. And so the way we were able to add on the last couple nights has been huge.
The Dodgers can win their 25th nationally pennant later today, a 5:08 Eastern first pitch in New York.
Did you see when Shohei hit that leadoff homer?
The Yankees had all but wrapped up the AL pennant yesterday in Cleveland, 1 out away from a 5-3 win and a 3-0 lead on the Guardians.
John Kenzie Noel's last home run came against Pittsburgh August 30th. No time like the present. 5-3 Yankees. Runner at second, 2 down, 9th inning, and the 1-0 pitch.
Swung on and hammered, high, deep to left, away, out of here.
Tom Hamilton speaking it into existence on Guardians Radio. John Kenzie Noel's mammoth 2-run homer extending Game 3. David Fry's 2-run shot bottom 10 ended at 7-5, so the Yankee lead is down to 2-1. Game 4 tonight at 8, still in Cleveland. I almost forgot to mention that there was Thursday Night Football. The Broncos hammered the injury-riddled Saints 33-10. Sean Payton wins in his return to town. The Saints lose after inducting Drew Brees into their Hall of Fame. Dennis Allen's boys have now dropped 5 in a row.
There was nothing complimentary about the game. In particular, early on in the game, we weren't really able to get anything going offensively. Defensively, we allowed them to have too many long drives.
The Saints gave up 2 rushing scores to Javonte Williams. They did not find the end zone themselves until there were 82 seconds left in the game.
Want to hear something crazy?
Please.
The Saints beat the Cowboys 44-19 this year. Doesn't that feel like that was like 2021? That was this year. Alvin Kamara was the best running back in football a month ago.
Yeah. Haven't won since.
Yeah.
The Cowboys should be demoted to some smaller league as a result of that game since the way the last 5 have gone.
Like soccer? Yeah.
Or
Relegated?
They should get a second loss. Like tack on another one in retrospect.
Well, they were facing a way different Saints team because of the injuries. But still.
Yes, but
Still the same coaching staff.
I believe I've called the Saints frauds, and I think I was called a hater. What did I was like 2-0. I don't think this is going to hold up. I believe I was called a hater.
Like you've been accused of being a Brock Purdy hater, which you're not.
You can hate and still be right.
What's that?
You can hate and still be right.
Yes, I think.
So wait, she could still be a hater even if she was right?
But you're a correct hater.
I think that there's something about hater that implies that it's personal. Like, I'm not personal on Brock Purdy. I've been critical.
Sports hating is not personal. That's like defined by your own fandom. Like, there's nothing to say, LeBron's a fraud is not personal.
Well, I think being a hater is like, just kind of raining on someone's parade. A sports hate is like, I hated Chase Utley all those years, or I hated Chipper Jones. Like, I hated Brian Cox, guys like that. That's like, I hate you because you were good against my teams. This is just like being a hater, like yucking someone's yums. But I think that they were always set for a big fall.
I think there's one player that you're the ultimate hater on, and even though you've been kind of quiet about it, I'm sorry, I don't get it. You were definitely a Sam Darnold hater.
Again, not personal.
Not personal,
I'm
but
a Sam Darnold
I feel like every
critiquer.
time he throws a touchdown this year, you're like shocked still. Like it's hard to get Jets Sam Darnold out of your mind.
Even a blind squirrel, Pearl. I'm sorry. Is that what you're talking about? Stuff like that?
What did you say to me
What
did you say to me in the break about that upcoming game?
I said, are we going to fight for who gets to take Detroit plus the points in our picks coming up later?
But right, there's nothing. No, you could be a hater. I don't think there's anything personal about being a hater at all. I think you could be a sports hater, just be like, oh, this team is overrated because they played bad teams. That's what a hater.
Yes. I guess I'll let you know when it's personal. What else you got, folks?
There's that too.
More on this throughout the morning. Virginia men's basketball coach Tony Bennett's retiring abruptly. We don't know why yet, but it's apparently not health related. There's a press conference at 11 a.m. Eastern. Our San Jose Sharks are now winless through 4 games after a 4-2 loss in Chicago. Artemi Panarin scored 3 times in the Rangers' 5-2 win in Detroit. And the Kings snapped a 3-game skid with a 4-1 win in Montreal. They are now 2-1-2 on a season-opening 7-game road trip because of renovations at the old Staples Center. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. You're chomping at the bit to get to this story.
Oh, I'm not sure which one you mean. I can't wait.
I feel like you walked in this morning, didn't even say good morning.
Yeah.
You went right into it.
I'm still laughing at that you had to throw in a blind squirrel finds a nut about Sam Darnold. Like, you can't help yourself. But anyway, whatever I'm excited about, let's go.
I'm excited.
Back in a minute. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, we'll get to Maxx Crosby's cryptic, not so cryptic words in just a moment. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But I walked in today. Pearl, you didn't even say good morning.
Yeah.
You just went straight into the shocking news from yesterday that Tony Bennett, the head coach of UVA men's basketball, is going to retire this afternoon.
Right.
This morning.
Incredibly weird timing. This narrative that he's tired of the new NIL world is utterly ridiculous. Because I get that if you're a college football coach. Maybe the NIL world is tough to deal with. You put 5 basketball players on a court. You're in the ACC where guys have been getting paid since the beginning of time. It's that hard to organize this new world about, how am I going to organize? You have 7 players who rotate in. Like, you can't figure out how to pay these guys. It's so exhausting for Tony Bennett. Get out of here. And if NIL was so exhausting, like, this is when you retire, there's no way that's the story.
Okay, well, I wanted Bogish to stay here because he has a theory about why this happened, because the timing is pretty crazy considering if teams still do Midnight Madness, that's probably happening in a week or so, and the season starts the first week of November.
We're past the Midnight Madness.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, teams are already practicing. There are scrimmage games now. We're past that part of the calendar. And this is not my theory. This is a theory that's floating around, is that this was kind of like a power play by Tony Bennett to manipulate the calendar, where he did this now so that his guy became the interim coach, didn't have time to hire an actual new head coach, and doing so now, basically, while they do have a 30-day window to transfer in the players, no one's going to leave because we're on the verge of the season, in the middle of an academic semester. So transferring and credits and staying eligible in 3 weeks at a different school is basically impossible. So they're kind of locked in to this year with the roster they wanted, and maybe the guy that Bennett wanted in charge to coach the year and maybe earn himself the actual job for next year.
Right. So a couple things about that. Also, the other schools have their roster set. I don't think all of a sudden Kentucky and Duke are going to say, hey, we got a spot for you. Come on over. That's probably unlikely. And then the other part, like, this is where I love that theory, because I don't think we're going to find out there's a scandal or something, because I don't think you get a goodbye press conference if you're resigning under some kind of bad action or something like that. The one thing about that is Coach K got to pick his successor. Roy Williams got to pick his successor.
Yeah.
Tony Bennett for UVA is that guy to them. I mean,
Agreed.
he has two things on his resume. He's got the worst loss in the history of college basketball, being the first ever 1 seed to be toppled by a 16 seed in UMBC, and then coming back and winning it all the next year. But you win a title at UVA. I mean, that's you're immortal there. He's going to have a statue. The court will be named after him. Like, why wouldn't he be able to handpick his successor? Why would he have to play this game with the athletic department?
Yeah,
you know?
and
Doesn't add up. I totally agree.
But maybe keeping the roster intact was the bigger part of the kind of the calendar play.
Now we're manipulating young people, which is great.
Is that roster so precious? Even like, who cares? I mean, they're not a contender, I imagine. I
think it's just
fifth in the ACC.
It's just your roster.
Yeah,
it's not an empty piece of paper, and you're scrambling for people to fill it.
But you can't say the guy's quitting 20 days before the season to help the team. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense.
No, he might have done it to help the program, so to speak.
To keep things the same.
I can't, that doesn't add up to me. Like, I'm like, how can I help the program? Why don't I quit 2 weeks before the season? Like, that's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he really was so worried about helping the program, he'd coach the team this year.
Yeah. I mean, like everybody else, when this came out yesterday and none of the newsbreakers attach an actual reason to it, I thought everyone was thinking one or both of these things, that he was either sick or something bad was coming and he was getting ahead of it.
Right.
And no one, they've said it's not health related.
That's the important thing. And thank God.
Right.
You know?
But no one has said it wasn't a bad thing either. Like they've killed off the idea that he was sick, but no one has said like it's not about anything bad on the horizon.
Oh, a scandal?
Right. As far as I've seen. So, like, that's on the table, I guess, in theory. This doing it now to keep the roster there, I think, is on the table. Is it possible because the season was coming and he just went, you know what, I'm not into this anymore? And I don't want to coast. I don't want to, like, sleepwalk through a season. He's like, maybe it's just better if I can't do 100% of this job that I leave now. I guess that's possible too.
Yeah, that's just extremely rare for guys just to quit because all of a sudden they don't have the passion for it.
But I feel like some players have quit like on the verge of like, okay, I actually don't want to go to training camp or I don't want to go to spring training. They go, all right, I don't, so I'm just going to stay home. He didn't stay home, but it's about to be the real grind. And he goes, ugh, never mind.
But I
just don't think if it's a scandal, I don't think they give him the opportunity to have the press conference and he's going to get this. Like, it's going to be, I imagine, a lot of happy memories and a lot of fanfare.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible he sits down and tells us something today at 11 o'clock? Is he gonna own something? Is the press conference to accept responsibility for something?
The NCAA, I mean, what can you do? I mean, is there improper? I know they went after Jim Harbaugh, and there's still guys who get NCAA violations, but do you think it's something like that? I think we'd know.
Well, I mean,
the NCAA would leak that. To
NCAA, I find that hard to imagine in today's atmosphere that he would have to resign because of NCAA issues like that. They have no teeth anymore. You know, I don't like this narrative where it's like, oh, now Coach K has left the game and Jay Wright has left the game. Jay Wright's a similar age, but Tony Bennett is not Coach K or Nick Saban. Like, those guys are in their 70s. So don't tell me this sport's too difficult or even the NCAA. If he was 55 and there was an NCAA violation, he would have plenty of time to put that behind him and get back on track. So
and no one leaves
there's
for that
got to be
anymore.
something different.
Because it takes so long to play out and you almost never get in trouble. Like, Bill Self has been in real trouble and probably has never considered leaving Kansas.
No shot.
So I don't think it's if it's something bad, it's something HR personal, or I mean, not like criminal, but it's
again,
not.
Wouldn't that be embarrassing to the program to have him sit up there at a press conference if it's something like this has just happened at Rutgers University? If you saw these headlines, the athletic director apparently was having an affair with the gymnastics coach. Well, that's a no-no, but he didn't get a press conference. They gave like a little statement back in August, like, oh, he checked with his cardiologist and now he's got to go away for a while.
Right, they lied to us. They went for sympathy first.
Yeah, it's totally Rutgers.
Yeah.
And then decided, I think someone blew the whistle because these two people were not keeping their affairs quiet at all. I don't think that's this. But that guy didn't get a press conference.
But I bet you there are lots of coaches who've left and we don't really know the real reason why.
I'll give you that, but this one is very public. It's like on the letterhead, if you will, of the school.
Right, it's the school's press conference, not Tony Bennett at off-site location.
Right,
press
but like there are
conference.
other coaches who've retired young, and I'll bet you we don't know the real story of what happened.
It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, this is college basketball. This is a sport built on a lie. They can figure out ways to lie. By the way, I see in this is interesting. Did you guys know Tony Bennett is still the all-time leading three-point shooter in college basketball history, according to the Wikipedia? I don't remember him as a player at all, but apparently he was a spicy point guard.
University of Wisconsin Green Bay.
Yeah,
right?
back in the day. And this idea too that college basketball needs him. They'll be fine.
855-212-4227. Back to football next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, baseball was delivering last night. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It was a come-from-behind win for the Cleveland Guardians over the big bad Yankees, Pearl, and then the Dodgers asserting their dominance over my Mets. It was a lot of, well, some of it was fun. Watching the Yankees lose certainly is fun to a lot of people, but painful.
Watching Shohei hit is fun.
Mookie Betts, Shohei, it's all happening for the Dodgers.
I mean, having Aaron Judge and Shohei's bats wake up makes the playoffs just all the. I mean, this. Let's face it, this is a juicy MLB playoffs.
But this is one of the best things about baseball. For every Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton home run and Shohei and Mookie Betts, you get a David Fry, home run that wins the game last night for the Guardians in extras. You get a John Kenzie Noel massive home run to tie the game. Big Christmas, as they call them. And so you got the big guys, the people everybody knows, the household names, and you've got the young, lesser known, if you will, even though David Fry was an all-star this year. I get that, but he's not exactly Aaron Judge Gatorade commercial stuff.
He feels like he's built out of that sort of journeyman David Freese,
David Fry.
Yeah.
Like David Freese from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Right.
I just feel like there's always that guy, kind of like Scott Brocious, but a little. Brocious probably did Brocious make the Hall of Fame? No, he's
but he won a World Series.
Multiple All-Star team. I think, this guy, we've seen this guy before.
I love this guy. In the postseason.
This guy only shows up in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
But again, our earlier argument, this guy is not. His name will not be remembered if the Yankees go on to win the rest of the series. If they win 4-1, then sorry, David Fry.
I know there's a couple of these that come to mind, right? In New York, there's an Endy Chavez catch that's very famous that ended up not meaning anything because the Mets didn't go on to win the World Series. You mentioned the Jermaine Kearse catch in the Super Bowl for the Seattle Seahawks that ended up kind of being put in the dustbin of history because Malcolm Butler at the goal line. There was also a very important Tim Duncan three-pointer that got erased because, who hit the game winner? Who ended up being the coach of the Knicks, and it didn't work out well. He played for the Lakers, too.
Derek Fisher?
Yeah, Derek Fisher hit the game winner right after it. There's just things like that happen in sports. We actually thought about doing this as a great debate one time.
Yeah.
And we never did. Maybe we'll put it back on the docket. The big plays that ended up not becoming legendary plays because they got topped or because
how about
their team didn't win.
Carlton Fisk's home run against the Reds when he's trying to will the ball fair. It was in Goodwill Hunting, and they obviously lost that series because the Red Sox didn't win for 100 years. So we know they lost. That is one of the most famous ones. Wait, they didn't win that? Another one, I got one. Was it Steve Pearce for the Red Sox? Didn't he hit a big home run?
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's a Red Sox. There's a lot of David Frys through history who are dependent on these big postseason home runs. Again, if it's 4-1, but that's actually a real thing. Are the Yankees? I know it's an emotional game. Is this gonna kill their confidence? Are they going to get out of their game? Are they going to be in their head moving forward?
Well, I worry about their closer, Luke Weaver.
Yeah.
This is somebody we don't really know too well. He's come on the scene this year and really to help turn things around for the Yankees, help stabilize the back end of that bullpen because they were terrible. It was the obvious weak link of the team. And Weaver comes along and it's all of a sudden this guy's unhittable. He looks like a high school senior. And he was the one yesterday who got hit. So, and Clay Holmes too. So those guys I worry about. I worry about that because we're watching Emmanuel Clase on the Guardian side. This is somebody, you need another word for elite. The season he was having was even beyond that, and he's already given up 2 huge home runs. He gave up 3 home runs total. He gave up a big one to Carpenter that ended up not mattering because they ended up winning anyway, but now gave up back-to-back home runs to Judge and Stanton. How does that not get in your head?
Yeah. No, it's I really I don't have a rooting interest in this one, but I really believe this. Like, we will not remember this game if the Yankees go on to win the night. If they win tonight, then what's it matter?
There's another one. Kevin Durant's toe on the line when he was playing for the Nets against the Milwaukee Bucks. All-time great game for Kevin Durant in a Nets uniform, which is, there weren't that many.
Yeah, but his toe was on the line. That doesn't count because he wasn't behind the. No, I mean.
No, they end up losing that game. If they win, that becomes an all-time like KD moment.
Right, they would have won if he had moved back an inch.
Well, I know, but he still made them. He was that game was. I don't remember if he dropped 50 in that game, but his stat line. Right? Do you remember?
It was like 45 points, close to 50, like 50, 40, 90. Triple-double, I think it was, too.
He almost single-handedly took out Giannis, and that Giannis goes on to win the title that year. So it was a major swing. Could have been an all-time Durant moment if his foot was just, if his big toe was just behind the line.
Yeah, I feel like it's a slightly different thing.
All right.
This is, obviously. But anyway, this was a great game. And the other thing that helps is the nickname. If you have a good nickname, you have everything.
Big Christmas.
Big Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great nickname.
John Kenzie Noel, Big Christmas.
I also lied. It was 48, 9, and 6 he put up.
Felt like a triple-double.
Felt like
Jesus. Only in this town does anyone care at all about Kevin Durant's Nets era.
We're talking about what could have been. I'm also talking about Durant here. I didn't give you Mikal Bridges, so let's be,
I hear
he's
so
an
much about
player.
I've heard so, oh man, if Durant was just, his feet were a little smaller, then the Nets would have gone on a 3-title run or something. Get out of here.
Well, I don't know about that. But anyway, we're talking about the close calls and plays that are not remembered because the team didn't end up going on to win. But hey, the Guardians are back in this series. It's 2-1 now. Game tonight. So we'll see what happens. All right, back to football for a minute because, Perloff, this is a story that we've been tracking, feels like, since the day that both guys arrived in the facility, and that is Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as quarterbacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we know that Fields has been there. He's been the starter because Wilson has gotten hurt. They're off to a 4-2 start. But now Russell Wilson is healthy. And it's a pretty controversial decision, I think, by Mike Tomlin to now switch things up. And it appears that all signs are pointing towards Russell Wilson starting this very important game Sunday night against the New York Jets. Now, you wonder, how would Justin Fields respond to this, right? Well, he's taking all the blame.
I don't think I played, good enough, if I'm being real with you. If I'm being real with myself, I think if, I did play well enough, I don't think there would be, any sort of who should be playing, who should not. So at the end of the day, we got a few wins. Of course, I'm glad about that, but, there's areas that, I could be better at, and, I'm just going to, continue to work on those and continue to get better.
Okay, your thoughts on Justin Fields basically saying it's on me. If I had played better, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
I think it's an act. I don't think he really feels this way. I think he thinks this is the right thing to say because Justin Fields, you think about his history, like he was the natural in high school, one of the biggest recruits in the history of the sport, and then goes to Georgia, loses his job to, what's the guy, not Jake Fromm, and then, is a star at Ohio State, comes in, like he's always tried to sort of put out this image that I'm a humble guy. So I feel, and he might be a humble guy, but I always feel like he's protecting this sort of persona of who Justin Fields is. Because when quarterbacks speak into a mic, they're usually lying. So I think he thinks this is, as a team player, this is what I should present, that it's on me. So I think I don't know if he really feels that way. I'll bet you underneath he's really upset. I'll bet you he's like, I earned this job. I should be starting. But I think he thinks this is the right thing to say. I think
it shows a level of maturity then, because if this is not how you really feel, and if you feel like you're getting screwed,
he definitely does not really feel this way.
Well, then it shows a level of maturity that he can go out there and not make it a thing. Because what was the story a couple years ago? It was, Justin Fields in the quarterback room in Chicago with your guy Andy Dalton and with Nick Foles, and apparently he was a gigantic pain in the butt.
He's always had this sort of diva label. Yeah.
Okay, well, this I think goes a long way to maybe clearing that
but
label.
It's totally fake, though.
But listen,
even that's better.
Even that's better.
Okay.
Because my thought on this was a lot of maturity. I think this went over gangbusters with Steeler fans. Because, to be honest, Steeler fans have seen some diva behavior. It's such a great organization, and they're all about winning. But they have seen some diva behavior from guys, and they got totally let down by whether it was the offense coordinator or Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett basically just said, you're going to bring in Russell Wilson? Trade me. And now he's a backup. He didn't even want to fight for the job. But I think they like this and appreciate that at 4-2, the quarterback isn't making it about him. And he has all the reason to make it about him. He's fighting for his career right now. And I think that Steeler fans, I think he went a long way in ingratiating himself to Steeler fans. That's one.
Well,
Two,
Steeler fans are idiots then because he's just selling a line.
He's not making it publicly messy.
Yeah, I hear. That's true. Okay.
And I think that he's understanding that Ben Roethlisberger came out and said this was a bad decision by Mike Tomlin, and other people have come out and said, "Why are you switching horses when you're 4-2? That don't do that." I think he's leaning into a little of the public saying this is the wrong move, and just wait a little bit. Let's see how Russell Wilson plays, because the odds are the team maybe has to tuck their tail between their legs and go back to Fields. Is a pretty good chance that that's going to happen. So don't make the waves now. Don't make it about you. And eventually just you're going to get your shot again. The other thing I thought about with this, Justin Fields is right. He actually hasn't played that great.
Yeah.
And it's been better. I think it's better than it looked in Chicago at times, but he hasn't played great. And if he wants to stick around in the league, because, guys, careers as quarterbacks can be long in this day and age. And you never know when your opportunity is going to come. Didn't go the way he wanted to in Cleveland, Chicago. Not going the way maybe he had hoped in Pittsburgh. But life is long, and your career might be long as a quarterback. Say the right things. Stick around. Hang around. Don't have this label of I'm a problem. I'm going to be a diva. I'm going to be all about me, whatever. And you never know. You could have a 10-year career either as a backup. You could be the next Geno. You end up going to a spot. You end up becoming the guy. There's just millions and millions of reasons to play it this way and not make it about you and not make waves.
Yeah, I agree with
smart.
That's all true. But I think if you're a Steelers fan, what's your real issue today? The fact that the line moved drastically against you when Russell, you must be like, well, what are we doing? Why are we starting Russell Wilson? Isn't that like the main narrative? Like nobody understands this. You're an underdog to a 2-4 team at home because you switched your quarterback. So that's, I think, a bigger issue. Like, what's going on here? Forget what Justin Fields says. What is Mike Tomlin thinking?
Well, that's alarming. I didn't know that the line moved like that.
I'm pretty sure. I got to double check. I think the line moved against the Steelers when, if somebody could fact check that, this is common sense. Of course, Justin Fields, this is a Jets defense that is really good at stopping the pass. They have Sauce Gardner back there. What do you think George Pickens is going to do there? So isn't the thinking Russell Wilson's a better pocket quarterback than Justin Fields? So they're not going to throw against the Jets. There's no way you said it yourself. There's no way Russell Wilson is going to shine in this position.
I didn't think so. I think they're setting him up. This is a tough spot to come into.
Yeah, right.
Unless the Jets defense is wildly overrated, which I know our producer EJ thinks that they're actually just sort of mediocre defense.
Well, they were not great against the Bills, but
of course not. But the thing is you probably have a better shot with a little more of a mobile quarterback than you do with a guy who's going to be sitting back there.
Except that the Jets were so bad at rushing the passer on Sunday night. Was it Sunday night or Monday?
It was Monday.
Yeah, but they basically, Josh Allen just sat back there, looked at his watch, and then threw downfield. Like, they just did not rush the passer. So maybe they think Russ is good here. It seems bad. On the surface, it seems like a really bad idea to go to an older, non-mobile guy.
Yeah, it sounds like a mistake to me, but I think there's a benefit of the doubt that Mike Tomlin gets.
No, not offensively. I disagree with that.
Really?
Oh, my God. They had Matt Canada as their offensive coordinator last year, and the owner basically had to step down and fire him because Mike Tomlin wanted to hold on to him when all of America saw that he was terrible.
Well, I think that was because Tomlin didn't want it to seem like he was throwing one of his assistants under the bus.
Right, because Tomlin, exactly.
It's just stubborn.
He puts loyalty over offensive confidence. I think people are way down on Mike Tomlin as an offensive coach, right? And then they bring in Arthur Smith. If you want your weapons to be neutralized, who does that better than Arthur Smith? You draft Bijan Robinson in top 10 and then you don't use him. That's a classic Arthur Smith move. I don't know. I feel like Tomlin will go to 9-8 despite his offense being terrible. I feel like that's the narrative.
You don't think, though, a guy who's one of the longest tenured in the NFL, actually might be the longest at this point with Belichick on, what he's seeing in practice, You don't think that there's anything here? Because it's
offensively?
It's inexplicable why you'd make this move at 4-2 unless you're seeing something in practice. Because are you saying it's a loyalty to Russell Wilson, who literally arrived 2 days before Justin Fields? What's the loyalty?
I think they signed Russell Wilson, promised him you will be the starter, so he's fulfilling that promise.
What did they pinky swear? It's the freaking NFL.
Well, also,
did Jim Harbaugh promise Alex Smith that he was getting his job back to Colin Kaepernick? I mean, sometimes you got to just say what's working is working.
Right, but you said it yourself. Justin Fields' numbers have gotten bad. I mean, for an NFL quarterback, he's just either he's not seeing the field or they're not calling like the pass plays right.
I know, but to your point, is it ever going to be about the numbers in a Pittsburgh Steelers offense?
I mean, it was with Big Ben. Maybe
that was a long time ago now.
Yeah, I mean, but even 2019, the end of Big Ben, he still threw for 5,000 yards. I mean, I honestly think like Big Ben probably made up for a lot of issues with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin just does not want to move the ball down the field. He wants to play so conservatively.
So then what's Russ going to do?
I mean, yeah, Russ was quite conservative in Denver last year. He doesn't make a lot of interceptions. Maybe they're like, okay, let's try some passing.
Justin Fields has one pick on the season. Now, one against the Raiders did get, negated by a roughing the passer call, but he hasn't been turning the ball. Well, a little bit, but I think he only has one pick on the season. No,
you're right about that. Right? But, I mean, that's Russ's thing. And Russ is one of the all-time leaders in touchdown interception differential. I don't know. No, it doesn't make any sense. Of course, this is not the week to go to Russ. Next week would be. But I bet you he promised him the day he signed him, and he's living up to that promise. By the way, Russell Wilson, good stats last year. Maybe there's something there. You seem to not be giving that a lot of hope. I'm kind of with you, but
we'll see. 855-212-4227. I want to get to Mike in Ohio. He's got a couple points here. We were talking about all-time great plays that are not remembered as much as they should be because the team maybe didn't go on to win. Mike, you've got a good one.
Larry Fitzgerald with the long touchdown, Super Bowl 43, that came right before the Santonio Holmes catch. Put the Cardinals in the lead with 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl. That would have been their one and only they ever got. And nobody talks about that, obviously, because of the great Santonio Holmes catch that happened right after. Also, just as a Steelers fan, I think you guys are missing a couple points on the quarterback change. Number one, yes, Justin Fields has only thrown one interception, but he does lead the league in fumbles.
Fumbles, yeah.
The Steelers have been very lucky that none of those have been recovered by the defense, but eventually that luck's going to run out. There's also been 3 interceptions this year called back by penalties that, I don't know if really affected the play like that. Also, many, many sacks that took us out of bad field position and stuff. Specifically in the Colts game, he ran us out of field goal range twice in what ended up becoming a one-score game. So I do think there's opportunities to be better. It's night and day difference from when Kenny Pickett got benched last year, and they asked if there was anything that he could learn, and he said no. You see how that ended up. So I'm glad to see how Justin Fields has taken it. He's young. Let him learn from somebody. He's never really had a true veteran to teach him in the past, and he's very close, but there's some things that are going to come back to bite us. We're trying to win a playoff game. We've been 4-2 or better how many times and just been embarrassed at the end of the year.
Your schedule gets harder. You know about that. Also, Fields had mentors. He had Foles and he had Andy Dalton when he was in Chicago.
How did that go?
Not well. Not well at all.
Yeah,
but
Fields just can't let it rip. He just does not throw the ball. It's so annoying. He has such a good arm. I don't know why he doesn't trust it more.
Well, and he doesn't have great receivers besides Pickens. Van Jefferson, Freiermuth is... We'll see, Mike.
Freiermuth's a baller.
Mike, you have another thought on why the line moved. This is a good one.
Yeah, the Devontae Adams trade got announced the same day.
Yeah, that may have been what moved the line.
Situation.
Yep.
It opened at -1.5 Pittsburgh. It moved to -2.5 on the Devontae trade before the whole Russ thing even really started.
That's a crazy amount to move even just off a wide receiver. Mike, thanks for the call. Great call. The Larry Fitzgerald catch is definitely one that is not remembered enough because Santonio Holmes made an even more spectacular catch right after.
And it's funny, the James Harrison play was an all-time play at the end of the half. So the thing about Russ, it's going to be a very close game. It's going to probably come down to the fourth. I think this will be – the Jets seem to play a lot of close games. So Justin Fields' wheels in the fourth quarter seem like a weapon that the Steelers might need. where Russ 10 years ago, Russ would have been great in that situation. But if it's like a close game and you need a first down in the fourth quarter, it feels like Justin Fields is a much safer answer to me. I think he's right about Devontae Adams moving the line, but I think the confidence in the Steelers has dipped tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, the fumbles, listen, the interceptions get negated. Is that luck or is that because stuff was going on, that impacted the throw? I know what Mike's saying. Some of them didn't, but is luck that's going to regress to the mean? I don't know.
But he's failed to reach 150 yards in 2 straight games, passing yards. That's just not.
Okay, but how many passing yards do you think Russ is going to have? You think he's walking in and all of a sudden it's going to be 275 yards passing? No way.
I mean, I would think even last year on the horrible, horrible Broncos, Russ probably threw for 220 a game. Yeah, 150.
I know.
Spencer Rattler could throw for that.
Are you sure? 855-212-4227.
Watch out for my guy, Spencer Rattler. I'm declaring him my guy. That guy can spin it. He's all the number one recruit talent is there. He looked good last night in that situation. I mean, he only threw like a couple of incompletions and he got sacked every play.
To be fair to Justin Fields, 245 yards passing against the Chargers, 312 against the Colts.
Yeah, because the Colts were killing him and they went into prevent mode.
I'm giving you the stats.
Yeah, but I said the last 2 games he didn't hit.
Last 2 games, 145, 131.
Yeah, it's 2024. It's not 1974.
131 yards, but 2 touchdowns. But they end up losing, obviously, to the Dallas Cowboys in a very close game. 855-212-4227. You can let us know what you think about the quarterback switch. Justin Fields is taking a seat. Russell Wilson, you're up.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening. Because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of Shields, Guards, and Real Fit products. Boyd in Mississippi. Learn more at depend.com.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. One of my favorite stats, I love stats that tell a story that nobody expected, is Russell Wilson's stat line from his final season with the Denver Broncos. He finished with 3,070 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. In another universe, that's an MVP season. 26-8 is an incredible ratio. But then we saw the games, and it didn't look right. I think late career Russell Wilson has gotten too much heat, so I'm dying to see. I think we might get a mediocre game against the Jets. And I mean that as a compliment.
What a prediction.
I mean, we might get Russell Wilson. We should both do this, predict our line. I say, assuming he does actually start, 16 for 27, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks.
You know whose stat line that sounds a lot like? Justin Fields, to be honest.
Minus the running yards, though.
Yeah, but take away the running
No,
yards.
I know. And
maybe take away the fumbles, but maybe not, because this is his first start behind this offensive line. So are we sure they're all going to be on the same page?
Not at all. No, believe me, that wasn't an endorsement. I would play Fields. I just think that Russell Wilson is, and maybe Tomlin will be like, yeah, that's what I want. Steady, it seems like Mike Tomlin wants a very conservative approach. So a running quarterback seems more conservative to me. We'll see. Also, what effect does this have on the run game? God, can Najee Harris get any lanes? I feel like the Jets could stuff him. It could be a long night.
855-212-4227 is Mike Tomlin making a mistake by benching Justin Fields for Russell Wilson. That hasn't been made official by the team, but all signs. Ramon is our pal in Indianapolis. Good morning, Ramon.
Good morning to my favorite morning sports crew. And Maggie, you're on the razor's edge. Perloff, you got me hurt. Now, you played both sides on the last comment saying you would start Field. I'm telling you, we've watched Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is not Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, they're both one-time champions. They both kind of flashed in the pan back then. Most of the time, the Seattle defense gets the credit for that Super Bowl when Russell was there. But that offensive line is porous, just like the Jets' offensive line. And he's going to get crushed back there. He can't move around. I'm telling you, you talk about Denver with a bad team. Well, a great quarterback lifts up mediocre talent. That's what you all say about Josh Allen. Yep. We say that about Lamar Jackson. Even Lamar won an MVP without Derrick Henry. I know everybody keeps throwing Derrick Henry in this year. People got to remember Lamar won an MVP without Derrick Henry and without a number one Devontae Adams type receiver. So I don't see that coming from Russell Wilson.
By the way, Russell Wilson, to be fair, Ramon, he's a 9-time Pro Bowler. He's actually historically much better than Joe Flacco. But you're saying he's not even as good as late career Joe Flacco?
No, Joe Flacco lifted Cleveland as the fourth quarterback last year and got to the playoffs. And look what he did look what he's doing for the coach this year. Joe Flacco has been phenomenal.
I agree. I mean, Flacco is just slinging it.
He's been phenomenal. If he can come, I don't think he will. But to me, the barometer for Russell Wilson is to do what Flacco's doing. And Shane Steichen did come out and say, hey, Richardson is our starter no matter what because we got to develop him and see what we got in him. But Joe Flacco has done nothing but been phenomenal the last year. If Russell Wilson can come in and do that, then I may be able to salivate a little bit on it. I just don't like it, especially when you're winning 4-2. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay, Ramon, thank you so much. Ramon always comes with good calls, and I appreciate that. When he's talking about the Joe Flacco versus Russell Wilson, I guess I underestimated how much pressure is on Russell Wilson in whatever is going to be left of his season here in Pittsburgh. Because if you are saying that Russell Wilson and Joe Flacco have had the same career, that's just crazy to me. And Flacco was a Super Bowl MVP. I get it. That was an unreal run. But until last season when he won Comeback Player of the Year, I don't think anyone was putting Joe Flacco in an elite tier.
No, if I told you 5 years ago that we'd be having a Russ versus Flacco debate.
No, I mean,
Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco elite. It was the all-time joke. I mean, Flacco was good. There's no doubt about it. Late career Flacco has been a revelation. He was almost out of the league. He was out of the league.
Well, that's what the Jets will do to you.
Yeah, he was on his couch. And now, you're right, it's another situation where they're going to a quarterback who gives them less chance to win with Indianapolis, and we all know it.
What was your favorite elite question? Is it Joe Flacco? Is Joe Flacco elite, or you can't spell Eli?
Yeah,
you can't spell elite without ELI.
Well,
Eli Manning.
My favorite one ever was PFT commenter going to the 2012 Democratic Convention and having a huge poster right near the candidate saying, "Is Joe Flacco elite?" I think he misspelled Flacco or something. It was like that is like when PFT commenter, from Barstool Sports he's like, "I'm here to stay." It was such an amazing question. I'm not an elite debate guy. I'm more of is this guy a system quarterback debate? That's my jam, Maggie.
That's
is
your
he
lane.
elite? I'm not so much into elite. I'm more into system quarterback, but I'll do an Eli Hall of Fame debate with anybody. I could, in fact, if you want to do the rest of the 2.5 hours on whether Eli should be a first ballot, count me in.
Let's rip up the rundown.
But Flacco, I think a revelation lately. Like we talk about it every week. Like, man, did you see Joe Flacco throwing around the field yesterday? It's awesome.
Yeah, I get more scared if I see Joe Flacco on the field than Anthony Richardson by a power of 10.
Yeah.
I'm like, if Joe Flacco's, they're probably winning this game with Joe Flacco. Anthony Richardson, who knows?
Flacco last year in Cleveland threw some of the greatest interceptions I've ever seen in my life, too. He would he would throw it 40 yards downfield. He's like, there's got to be somebody there. And it was either his team or the other team.
Generally, it was the Texans in that playoff game.
I saw an interview with Anthony Richardson the other day. That is a very fun young player. Like, I'm hoping that he's good. I know he has no football under his belt. It does seem dire. Maybe he can run his way to a game. So I get it. If you're the Colts, like, what would you do? You do have to see Anthony Richardson. You took him number 4 overall.
Yeah, no, you got to keep going to him.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think there's the type of pressure that's on the Steelers, quite frankly. And I don't know if the pressure should be on the Steelers, but it definitely is.
A lot of pressure. You're 4-2. This is a year you have arguably the best defensive player in the game in TJ Watt. Like, it kind of feels now or never. Like, this is a year that the Steelers should be able to do it.
Well, also, Cleveland's cratering. The Bengals have gotten off to a terrible start. Things are breaking right for you. Andrew Bogish is here. He's got headlines for us. You can call us about this Steelers situation, 855-212-4227.
And can I steal Ramon's phrase there? What did he say that I could salivate on that? I'm gonna pick that up. That's I think a good line.
I'm pretty sure Hawk Tua's already got that one.
Headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. God, Maggie is
Friday.
disgusting.
Maggie is in the house, and I like it.
We were
viral. I actually off Hawk Tua in the LSU Arkansas game. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but apparently,
was she there?
No. It's I let's move on.
Headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks and use code MNP and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5.
That's man-P to you, Bogus.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. They did not take my suggestion. The Broncos and Saints actually played Thursday Night Football instead of simming it on a PlayStation. The Saints should have rage quit.
2nd down and 10 at the 34. Here comes a blitz. Rattler rolls. The ball popped up in the air, and it's picked off by Cody Barton. Steps through a tackle, and Barton is going to take it all the way for a Denver pick six. He backs into the end zone to take a Denver win back west.
Kevin Kugler on Westwood won. It was actually a 52-yard fumble return touchdown, not a pick six. Either way, you put the finishing touches on a 33-10 Denver rout, which made Sean Payton a winner in his return to New Orleans. Rookie QB Bo Nix happy to get his coach a meaningful W.
Saints mean a lot to him. He was there for a while. Had amazing success, and it's tough to go back to a place that you called home for that long, and you fought for, and now you're playing against. So it was special. It was a great moment. Happy for him.
Nix threw for 164 yards, ran for another 75, but no touchdowns. Javonte Williams 88 yards, 2 scores on the ground. Will Lutz 4 for 4 on field goals for Denver. The Saints have now dropped 5 in a row. They scored 91 points in their 2-0 start. They've scored just 86 during this losing streak. The Mets offense is still MIA as well. A 10-2 loss to the Dodgers last night means a 3-1 hole in the NLCS. Pete Alonso has 2 hits, no RBI in the series, but doesn't believe his team is done.
The one word I can think of the 2024 Mets, other than grimace, is resiliency.
That's not a joke. So he's going grimace, then resiliency, which might be the problem with this team. Game 5 at 5 Eastern today.
I mean, Pete Alonso is as close to a McDonald's Happy Meal character as
he's a human grimace.
I was saying, I've always called him, it's like rooting for a human Labrador Retriever. He's just, hey, little guy.
Yeah. Whoop-a-doop baseball.
Yeah.
You eating that?
There was a he would say that. There's a funny moment where Alex Rodriguez is doing this interview with him after the last series. Pete, I've been in your shoes when all of New York is behind you, is against you and booing you, and you can see Alonso they've been against me this whole time. It's yeah, Pete. Been a rough season. Could have fooled him.
I might be back against him. Yeah. That Milwaukee home run seems like a long time ago.
I was about to say, life ain't so easy for you Mets fans when you're not beating up on my Phillies, huh?
Yeah, let's get to that. How bad are the Phillies?
I know.
That's our big takeaway from this season.
I was talking a lot about this last night with Mets fans. I'm like, they all knew the Phillies were not hitting. Sometimes the teams go cold, and now it feels like the Mets have gone cold, and I know because I'm following Francisco Lindor in my home run derby contest here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it too late for them to pick it up?
It feels too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good thing we got Bogish and Little Bogish at the game tonight to be the new Grimace OMG Hawk Tua totem.
Not
feels
Hawk Tua.
Every game in the series is going to be 8-3 though, right? So there could be maybe it's a Mets blowout.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Not optimistic.
Everyone just sort of staring off into space for a second.
We're trying to talk our way into believing that they can come back and win 7.
Right. You've been following the Mets for 72 hours. We've been doing it for a collective 72 years.
Yeah,
so it's a whole different perspective on things.
I am aware of some of the Mets legacy. Yeah.
You said the other day, what's OMG? I'm not sure. Don't they have a song?
But there's a new song every year with this team. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. OMG was this song
this
for
year.
6 months.
I'm just saying, I can't keep track of all the Mets, things. There's always a thing.
Yeah, I know, because the Phillies never have a thing, except for, that song that they, Dancing by Myself, which they wrote all the way to the World Series and then lost.
I know. We needed a better song this year. That was the problem.
They're still singing that song.
Yeah.
It was this woman, Robin, but then a country singer, I think, did a remix, and they took that.
And it was Bryson Stott's walk-up song, right? That's where I think that's how I got introduced to.
Wait,
them.
I don't think they were still singing it this year?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought Stott's walk-up song was that Living in the Blue Sky, whatever it is. That terrible song.
I don't know it.
A-OK, A-O-A-OK, that one.
Oh, I know that. My daughters love that song.
That's his song, I think.
It's a pretty good song.
They sing that. No wonder they lost.
What? Get out of here. So you're telling me the baseball winner is determined by the cooler song?
Yeah, I fully believe that if their walk-up song or pitching introduction song is good, they're a better player.
I know. The only counterpoint to that, though, Botcher, is the Washington Nationals won a World Series, and the best walk-up song was Baby Shark. And that song, for any parent out there, makes you want to put your fist through a wall.
Yeah, but that's like a totem. That counts.
It is funny how baseball has these things.
Oh, rally monkeys and all that stuff.
I mean, the Mets have might have more than anyone. The rally pimp and Hawk Tua girl.
I always forget about the rally pimp.
They sort of claim Hawk Tua, right?
I mean, it was controversial.
Right,
put it that way.
Threw a first pitch and they played well after that.
Well, they lost that game, but then they won after that.
On a side note, I can't even look at Botcher today.
Why?
I don't know.
The hat.
There's a lot going on. The pink hat. There's a flamingo on his chest. It's a tie-dye shirt.
It's youth, baby. I walk
Is
around.
that what it is?
I walk around the hip parts of Brooklyn. Everyone's wearing pink. It's a thing.
Yeah,
it's tie-dye. I love that tie-dye is back. I'm into it.
Yeah, it's just I don't. It's too much for my 44-year-old look at life.
It's okay. I have a piece of paper blocking my sight line to you.
so the feeling's mutual.
Yeah, that's probably for your best interest.
So the bright orange is fine, but we can't do the tie-dye.
Yeah, it just you.
Nico, you're wearing a sick Islanders hoodie.
Yeah, who cares? The Islanders, whatever.
I love good NHL gear. I'm totally jealous of that. I don't really follow the teams that closely.
Which month of this season will you be an Islander fan?
No, he's got Connor Bedard, guys. Don't worry.
I had a hockey
Connor
tweet.
McDavid.
I had an interesting hockey tweet last night. So there you go, bogus, Mr. Hockey Guy.
What was your hockey tweet?
Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, because Al Michaels only cares about the NHL, got into a long discussion. Is Connor McDavid the greatest player of all time? Is he better than Wayne Gretzky? And I thought that was shocking.
Wait, he got into that discussion with Kirk Herbstreit?
Yeah.
What quarter was this?
It was like
it was the open.
It was
There's a football game behind us, but let's get to a controversial hockey take that I've been noodling on.
It was 26-3 Broncos over the Saints. Trust me, it was time to talk hockey.
Wait, Kirk Herbstreit barely gives any football opinions. Are you telling me he had a hockey take?
He was way more into the hockey conversation than the actual football game last night.
Can we find some of this?
Yeah, it was
Ryan,
great.
not to give you more work, but
Bogus, you know hockey really well. Are we talking about Connor McDavid as the greatest player in the history of the sport already? That's what Al Michaels thinks, and he goes to a million Kings games. I was shocked.
Yeah, I was long checked out of this game, so this is all news to me.
I was the only one still watching it. I was just kind of curious.
They have Drew Brees in the booth. They're like, Drew, what do you think about Connor?
I was actually
break our tie.
I was.
We got Herbstreit's dog back here.
Barked twice for McDavid, once for Gretzky.
Well, I was kind of thinking Herbie might go to Predators games or something. I don't know. He seemed to be.
No, I would assume he's a Blue Jacket fan. Doesn't he live in Columbus still?
No, he moved to Nashville.
He was getting too much
harassment.
But I feel like, so I think though he's still a Blue Jacket.
Yeah,
fan.
like he seemed into hockey. I was surprised. I'm like, when do you have time? You're obviously calling like many games. But Al loves hockey. Al is so bored by this crap product that he's getting in front of him.
Oh, there was a great moment. I know we got to go to break, but there was a moment where Al Michaels said that he's called 15 games in the Superdome if he had to like ballpark it. And think about how many years the Saints have been down in his broadcasting career. So that means think about the teams that have actually been good. Like how many times has he been to Foxborough? How many times do you think he's called a game in Lambeau?
Totally.
Like good teams that have been interesting over the last 30 years.
Always had prime time. Yeah, that Sean Payton came there like 07. They've been good since then.
That's true. But there's a couple 8 and 8 seasons in there we don't really talk about. 7
Yeah, but still good enough to get prime time. But after last night, they might not come back for a long time. that was one of the worst football products we've seen in forever.
We'll be there
to the point where Kirk Herbstreit's doing a hockey debate. That's all you need to know. It's all you need to know about last night's game.
All right, we'll find some of that for you. Bogish, thanks so much. Coming up, lots more to do, including Maxx Crosby with some interesting words about his future. We'll get to the Raiders next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
It's extra Bosher tonight. It looks like a guy that would sit next to Colin Jost and do a weekend.
Thomas Smith couldn't help it, he let it slip. Tolbert took a hit from his nuts rip. Sprained his fucking nuts, twisted him tight, but came back in the game, ready to fight. He sprained his fucking nuts, his balls got reds, but still made the play no one would expect. Caught that pass, it will win like a stud, with his jewels throbbing, lying in the mud. The doc threw it deep, Tolbert didn't miss. Even with his ball screaming, what the fuck is this? He powered through, nuts in a twist. Caught the game winner, you get the gist. He sprained his fucking nuts, his boys got wrecked, but came back out there, no hint of a hush. Balls on fire, burning like the sun. Still caught that pass, got the damn job done. Fans woke up to a miracle sight. We beat Perloff's Phillies for the first damn night. Said it couldn't happen, no way, no how, but we proved them wrong, look at us now. Hey Perloff, how do you feel? The Mets just made this win so fucking real. First time ever we got it done, and Peter Bellotti showed up for the damn fun. Peter Bellotti's here, believe this shit. He finally punched in and didn't quit. Wearing Mets colors, loud and proud. For once he's here, damn near the crowd. Hey Perloff, where's your grin? Your Phillies lost, let the Mets begin. Peter Bellotti's back, ain't that grand? Celebrating history in Mets land. The king of queens, shutting through the borough, living his dreams. But while he's ruling with that legal grin, Peter Bellotti's nowhere to be fucking seen. Oh, Peter, where the hell'd you go this time? Miss another shift, it's a damn crime. Maggie and Perloff, they've had enough. You know, show bullshit's getting kinda tough. Young Peter Schwartz, just 13 years old, dreamed of Yankee tickets, oh so bold. Playoff game night, light shining so bright, but his free pass didn't show. Oh, what a fright! No free tickets to the game, haunts his memory still the same. Peter's dreams went up in smoke, and his heart was never quite unbroke. He stood by the mailbox day and night, hoping those tickets would make it right. But they never came, no knock on the door, left him wishing for something more. No free tickets to the game, haunts his memory still the same. Peter's dreams went up in smoke, and his heart was never quite unbroke. Maggie Gray was sneaking in the back of the class, orange and Perloff scribbling, knew she had to act fast. The question on the page, yeah, looked kinda tough, but Maggie leaned in, cause cheating ain't that rough. She copied every word, thought she had it made. The answer was Fred Warner, a linebacker upgrade. But no one's talking football, no one's looking that way, cause we're stuck on the fact that Peter Bellotti's gone today. She copied every word, thought she had it made. The answer was Fred Warner,
lots of football to get to, actual games, Perloff, to preview, to recap. However, this one deserves our attention, and it was an interview that Maxx Crosby did. I believe this is yesterday, guys. Ryan, was this yesterday?
It was either yesterday or 2 days ago.
Okay, Maxx Crosby asked about, obviously, the big changes that happened with the Raiders over this week with Davante Adams getting traded to the New York Jets. So here's Crosby on what he is trying to get out of his career in the future.
You know, I'm not here to rebuild. I'm here to win. So, you know, I don't know whatever that means, but yeah, I'm here to win now, and wherever I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be here to win. So that's all that matters to me.
Okay, if you want to say I just want to win, I want to win. Of course, we hear that from athletes. That's obviously the goal. But Perloff, when he says I don't want to be around for a rebuild, that's the part you got to underline 3 times and circle, because there is no team in the NFL that is careening towards a rebuild more than the Las Vegas Raiders.
Absolutely. Here's my question. What about this offseason? Like, what did Maxx Crosby and Davante Adams not know in July that they know now? Like, we saw this documentary about Davante Adams looking miserable last year. Maxx Crosby was in the same boat, but he kept saying, I'm here, I'm a Raider, I'm a Raider, I'm a Raider. What did he expect to happen this year? They have Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. They really don't have a lot of talent. They still are very thin everywhere. Like, dude, I love Maxx Crosby. Like, why didn't you say this in the summer and get out of town?
Well, to be fair to him, I think that Davante Adams, I think they really were publicly behind Antonio Pierce. I think they were trying to, be there for Pierce, and he ends up getting the job full time after the interim, stint. And then I think the other part, I was reading about this in The Athletic the other day. I didn't realize this. One of the big things, allegedly, that made Davante Adams jump off of, Antonio Pierce and really kind of sour him on the Raiders was the fact that they brought in Gardner Minshew and went to Minshew over O'Connell. I was like, what? I didn't think there was that much of an appreciable difference between Gardner Minshew and O'Connell, but apparently that really rubbed Davante Adams the wrong way, or at least that's what the reporting from those awesome reporters was pointing to.
But what's Maxx Crosby's deal? Because he's been loyal. Here's the other thing, too. It's going to be really hard. Everyone thinks Detroit Lions should just get Maxx Crosby. It's not a fantasy football league. The salary cap is very, very hard for the whole situation. I still think it's going to be really hard to trade. And there was a report, actually, it was from the Zach Gelb show. Thomas Dimitroff said it'd be 2 first-rounders and a third-rounder for Maxx Crosby. Like, who's giving up 2 first-rounders for Maxx Crosby? Is that a thing?
I think you have teams that maybe smell blood and think that they're one pass rusher away. I mean, you got to be honest. Of all the defensive guys, there's a handful in the league that would probably legitimately change your Super Bowl outlook. Maxx Crosby is definitely one of them. Put him on a good team. We see what he does on a mediocre team to bad. I mean, the Raiders sometimes are awful, and he still stands out.
It just seems like a gigantic...
Put him on the 49ers. They don't have any cap space.
Just seems like a gigantic cost. I mean, in week 8. I mean, he's playing. I assume he's playing this weekend.
Well, maybe this is the type of thing where the more salary you can take on, the fewer draft picks you have to give them, or the more draft picks you give them. If I were the Raiders, I thought it was silly that they wanted the Jets to take any of Davante Adams' salary. Eat the whole salary. You've got so much cap space, and try to get as good a draft pick as possible. And I would do the same thing with Maxx Crosby.
Well, the way the Raiders draft, I don't even think it matters. But no, I think that they might be holding out for a ransom. There have been multiple reports that they want. And also, obviously, he's their shining star of a player. Like, if you're going to give him away, you better get something really, really good. I just think I'd be really surprised. We had Diana Rossini on the show yesterday. She said the Lions are more likely to look at other teams' practice squads and find a pass rusher there. That seems true to me because... I mean, let's face it. Would the New England Patriots trade 2 first-round picks midseason for a superstar? No, not in a million years.
They're in a rebuild.
No, I mean back in the day under Belichick. Yeah, would Andy Reid and Brett Veach trade for 2 first-round? Never. Dynasties think long-term. This is a huge immediate cost. I don't think anyone's really good is going to do that.
So you don't think Maxx Crosby's going anywhere?
I'd be surprised. I don't think if they keep that asking price up. No, I definitely don't think the Lions are going to do it. You know what? I kind of hope they do because they'd win the Super Bowl with Maxx Crosby. But I just think, because of what Diana was saying, just the money is really hard for most teams to do to take on somebody like that.
You need someone who's got the bleep them picks mentality like Sean McVay.
How about Bills?
I wouldn't put anything past them. They did a huge move and gave Von Miller all this guaranteed money a couple off seasons ago, and that's blown up in their faces. Maybe they want to try to make good on that. All right.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining.
No matter what. I'll never stop, no, I'll never be done talking about being of a lot, even missing one. Day after day, it's stress empty and cold, but I'll keep singing cause the truth's been told. Oh, glorious, you say I've lost my way, but I don't care, I'll talk about Peter all day. You think it's a problem, or maybe
you're rooting for the New York Yankees or most likely rooting against the New York Yankees, if you're rooting against them, this was like a sweet symphony of a late inning comeback where it looked like the Yankees were just going to cruise. They were up 2-0 in the series. Looked like they were just going to cruise over the Cleveland Guardians. You got big bad Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, back-to-back home runs off of Emmanuel Clase, the elite closer in baseball this year. And what happens? You get two relatively unknown compared to those Yankee
Relatively
monsters.
unknown to I mean, come on.
Well, I want to be fair to David Fry was an all-star this year, but you also have, of course, Jhonkensy Noel. These are the two guys who really kickstarted the comeback, along with Lane Thomas, who, when the Guardians were down to literally their final strike, he comes up with a big double. You have Jhonkensy Noel, big Christmas, hits a home run to tie the game, and then it was David Fry in extra innings to win it for the Guardians, and we are back on in the ALCS.
Actually, I'm kind of curious about your characterization there of the Yankees. Are the Yankees like Duke basketball? Like, people hate them? I'm not sure I understand that. Like, nationally, like, they're a love-or-hate team, Notre Dame football.
Yes. I think they're the ultimate. Dallas Cowboys, New York Yankees, Duke, without a doubt. I think as much as people root for them, or no matter where you live in America, there's always that one guy in your friends group that's rooting for the Yankees because they probably love Derek Jeter or whatever. They are without a doubt a villain and hero team.
I didn't grow up with any of that with the Yankees. Not even for one
second. You grew up in a National League town.
Because back then, like the National, like they weren't even on our radar. They were a cute story. Like it didn't, like they didn't affect us. We hated the Cowboys so much.
Right, and there's always that one person in your crew
who was a Cowboys fan.
The Cowboys
the way you
it's
described
like
the Yankees was the way that the Cowboys were for me as a kid. Maybe it's city by city. But there are also more Yankee fans than I'd say. There are almost as many Yankee fans as there are general baseball fans. I mean, 45% of the country loves the Yankees, too, because they grew up. Their grandfathers loved, Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra. So it's an interesting team. I don't find this team very hateable at all. It's hard for me. I don't know how people get their gander up against Aaron Judge. He just seems so nice.
Nico, you look like you want to say something here.
I have a cool stat from this game last night. So the Yankees are now 172-2 in postseason history when leading by multiple runs entering the ninth inning.
Whoa.
Both losses at the hands of the Guardians.
172-2?
So this is this year and then when they were by their old name.
So it was actually 2 years ago, Oscar Gonzalez in 2022. Also off Clay Holmes, by the way.
Oh, my gosh. Nico coming with the stats this morning. Yeah, that's gaudy.
Wait, did you say 100? So they've been in this situation 172 times. Wow.
Yeah. That's amazing. So that one's going to sting.
But it might not. They play tonight, 8:08 Eastern.
So how do they come back from this is really the question. If the Yankees are going to come back, because the Guardians now have grabbed this series by the neck.
Have they, though?
I think so.
I mean,
no. You don't think so?
It doesn't feel that way to me. It feels like the even last night, the Guardians were up for a big chunk of the game, and they couldn't quite. If Aaron Judge is going to hit, then I don't see that happening. What, Ryan, you're shaking your head.
I'm not moved by Alex Cobb in the year of 2024. Him or Matthew Boyd. Boyd was solid last night, but I just don't think that they don't have the pitching. Starting pitching is great, but their bullpen's amazing.
So, yeah, and Class A, it's so odd to see him giving up any kind of home runs at all. So tonight, it's what's his face? Williams is the starter, Gavin Williams. So Gavin Williams against Luis Gil, the matchup everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah.
Gil was great, has had a great season. But get this, and we're going to talk to Ryan Dempster later on in the show. Both of these guys haven't pitched in like a month. Haven't started a game in like a month. So that's going to be kind of interesting. We'll ask him about that. Okay, 855-212-4227. If you're a Yankee hater, were you completely loving last night? And if you're part of Yankee Universe, do you think they're going to get back in it? I worry a little about Luke Weaver as their closer. Clay Holmes, you mentioned, was also in to close out the game. So Clay Holmes gave up the game-tying homer, and Weaver gave up the game winner. Flip that. Weaver gave up the game tying. Clay Holmes gave up the game winner.
And I was so thoroughly enjoying my West Coast baseball team, my Dodgers.
Don't even let him do this.
The little engine that could, that they could scrap together a series despite their bad pitching. Amazing to see a team do this.
Yeah. Perloff's been rooting for a National League team his whole life. Now is all of a sudden a Dodger fan. America, we cannot allow this man to parade around like this and bandwagon his way on every single team.
You have to admit, if you like superstars, this Dodgers team is for you. I mean, I know the Mets have stars, and I know even the Yankees have big stars, but to have Shohei and Mookie on the same team, there is something very entertaining about this team.
How about Freddie Freeman didn't even play last night, and they still won 10-2.
You've seen some really good baseball ratings come in, and I think it's the New York teams, definitely. But I feel like Shohei is the special sauce. It's just incredible to see this guy. This is like a Major League Baseball dream.
Yeah, Nico.
So I actually have a friend who's a Giants fan and a Chargers fan. Is that okay because they're in different conferences, or is it just like you can't root for two teams?
Oh, football, not San Francisco Giants, the New York Giants.
Right.
Well, he's got way bigger issues.
Well, your friend's certainly not Archie Manning.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't know.
His son going from the Chargers to the Giants.
My advice would be to drop the Giants like a hot potato and go full Jim Harbaugh, right? Like,
be careful.
I mean,
it's an interesting combo.
I mean, when's the last time? Anyway, whatever. That's allowed. They're so far away. That's fine.
I think that there's generally an idea that you can root for another team that's in a different conference, but it can't be Perloff being a Phillies fan and then rooting for the Dodgers. No way, no how.
But but it's 2024. Stars move the needle. Can you root as a neutral fan? Can you root for Shohei? Even can you? I mean, you're a Mets fan. Can you appreciate Shohei?
Appreciate's different. Root for? No.
You have
Are you crazy? Seeing leadoff home runs against my team.
So wait, you didn't root for Ken Griffey Jr.?
I appreciated Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh my God. You didn't root for Ken Griffey Jr. You didn't want to see him come up and hit an unbelievably towering home run.
Well, he's played for most of his career for the Mariners, which had nothing to do with me growing up as a Mets fan. So
I agree. By the way, I rooted for Michael Jordan, and he would beat my 76ers all the time, but I still rooted for him because he's the GOAT.
So when he played against your team, you're like, man, I hope he drops 50 tonight.
Not exactly, but when he was in the finals, like, yeah, I kind of was like, I want to see him do his thing. Like, yes, I would say I rooted for Michael Jordan in general.
Were you also rooting for Tom Brady and the Patriots?
No, no, not at all. Because
so what's the difference?
Because Michael Jordan was spectacular. Tom Brady would kill you with 1,000 paper cuts. If he was exciting, I would have rooted for him.
Well, it's like rooting for the dynasty.
I rooted for Mahomes 100%.
You played them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly.
Your team, not you.
Did you see anyone on the Eagles be mad? We're like, wow, that guy's awesome.
Well, that's a problem.
No, I mean,
you
like,
had the game.
Yes,
you had it.
I root for Patrick Mahomes. Do you don't root for Patrick Mahomes?
No.
You don't appreciate seeing this guy play football?
Listen,
it's so much fun.
I think I can be unbiased when we do our job, but as a lifelong Buffalo Bill fan, there is no chance I'd be rooting for Patrick Mahomes. I can acknowledge he's the best quarterback in the league. I'll say he's better than Josh Allen. I'll say he's, coming for Tom Brady, all that stuff. But there's no shot I'm rooting for the guy. I don't want him to get hurt. Don't get me wrong. I want my team to beat his team, straight up.
Okay, but if my team's not in it, I want to see Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, like 100%. Like, it's a disappointment to me if Mahomes isn't there because he's so entertaining.
Well, he's definitely entertaining, so I'll give you that. Would I rather watch him play quarterback than Jared Goff? Yeah, you're right. I probably would. But you were talking about Michael Jordan. That's spectacular, but in some ways, it's also rooting for the dynasty. So that's was wondering if you'd be rooting for Tom Brady. And quite frankly, with the Chiefs, you're rooting for the dynasty too.
Right, but the Mahomes and Jordan are fun. Tom Brady was not fun.
Are you rooting for Steph Curry?
Like, yes,
you're rooting for the Warriors?
Oh, I love the Warriors, yeah. Big fan. I never rooted for Tim Duncan because he was so boring. Like that nobody rooted for the Spurs. Like, you'd be out of your mind. Like, a neutral fan to root for the Spurs, like, why?
I'm telling you, when you get to San Antonio, they're not going to be happy with you if you keep
I appreciate Tim
on
Duncan,
Charles Barkley.
but it's not like, oh man, did you see that Tim Duncan highlight? That was a sick 8-foot bank shot. Yep. You were rooting for Michael Jordan because he would be with his spectacular dunks. You root for Patrick Mahomes. You root for Ken Griffey. Yeah, you root for teams. You root for Kobe Bryant like you had to. Even if it wasn't your team, I don't know.
It's a little just like, hey,
you
shiny
can only root
object.
for You can only root for the players on your 4 teams. That's ridiculous.
I think so. 855-212-4227. All right, let's get to a team that some people root for and a lot of people root against, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Because we've seen Perloff, former Cowboys, get really critical of the team at times, like when we had Emmitt Smith on at the Super Bowl and he basically blasted the team and we were like, what are we listening to right now?
That's a guy I never rooted for, but yes.
Yeah, sure. And it went quadruple gajillion viral because Emmitt Smith just unloaded on his own team, on the Dallas Cowboys, and unloaded on Mike McCarthy and everything. So here's a little bit from Troy Aikman. Big week for Dallas radio on the ticket in Dallas. And he was talking about the Cowboys wide receivers, Pearl, and he believes they are a huge problem.
I think the routes are terrible. I think they run terrible routes, and I've thought that beyond this year. And I think CeeDee's got to improve in his route running. And as a quarterback, if you're not certain where guys are going to be consistently, it's hard to play the position. And so that's what I see. I see guys lazy coming off the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they run. Usually, if they do, it's because they're anticipating they're going to get the football in that play. But if they're not, they don't, and it all ties together. And so I'm not impressed with that part of it.
That's as big of a critique as you can give to a wide receiver core.
I'm surprised it's a headline. Because, no doubt, you watch a Cowboys game, those guys obviously run terrible routes. I mean, Dak Prescott has thrown more interceptions that bounced off his receiver's head than any quarterback in the history. His receivers stink, and they've stunk for years.
To say that about CeeDee Lamb, though, a player who...
About CeeDee Lamb, okay. Yeah.
I mean, the team just made him the second highest paid wide receiver in the NFL behind only Justin Jefferson. No one ever says Justin Jefferson's lazy getting off the line of scrimmage. No one ever says Justin Jefferson only runs hard when he knows the ball's coming his way. This is as damning as a thing that you can say about a wide receiver. Yeah. You can say, wide receiver, they don't block well. There's other critiques you can give them. To say they're lazy, they don't care, running bad routes, he destroyed the wide receiver crew. He just took them out with napalm.
Did you see the Green Bay game? I mean, to me, this seems so obvious.
But the Green Bay game, you're going back to the playoff game from last year.
Did you see Davante Adams running routes? Like, that was bad.
No, but the one thing about Green Bay last year you're talking about?
Yeah,
when
last
they
year,
lost?
the 48-21 playoff loss.
Right. Everyone almost uniformly blamed the run defense on that. Green Bay, Aaron Jones ran all over everybody.
There was a key play where Dak Prescott threw what would have been a first down pass to CeeDee Lamb, and it went through his hands.
Yeah.
It would have been a hard catch. And then afterwards, Mike McCarthy went over to CeeDee Lamb on the sideline. That was also a big part of what was happening. It wasn't just a run defense. It was also, oh man, Dak and CeeDee are coming up small again.
Yeah.
And specifically, it looked like something was wrong with them.
You know, to be honest, and I know that this is about the wide receivers and they need to do their job, but if this is not an indictment on Mike McCarthy, I don't know what is. Are you the head coach? Are you trying to motivate these guys to play well? And then number two, this is also, to me, I'm not trying to pass the buck. The players are the ones who need to take the criticism here. Troy's absolutely right. But is it also not a bit of an indictment also on Jerry Jones in the front office?
100%. It's 0 on McCarthy. It's 100% on Jerry Jones.
Well, and here's the reason why.
Yeah.
You knew you were paying CeeDee Lamb this whole time, right? You knew it. So you have a wide receiver and a quarterback who are not on the same page. Now, there's a reason why CeeDee had a career year, but after that playoff game, there were a lot of things to fix. And instead, you farted around and didn't give him the contract, so he's not there for the entire offseason because he's holding out. Now, I don't know who you want to give the blame to. You give it to CeeDee. You could have held in.
So wait, you're saying this is a result of the holdout? I don't buy that because they know each other so well.
So then why are they not on the same page?
Well, now you say he was specifically calling out CeeDee, but but it's the whole receiving core stinks. They run there's so many plays where Dak throws the ball. It's like, oh my God, what a terrible interception. You could just look at Dak's face like, oh, that dude ran the wrong route. There's so many times. I mean, listen, they're journeymen all around. They're CeeDee and journeymen. So, like, you're a big time team. Look at any good team. Like, look at the receiver. Look at the receivers in San Francisco. Look at the receivers in Philly. Look at the receivers of the Lions, and even the way the Packers have built that receiver room. The Cowboys receivers are bad. They're just really bad. I mean, one of them is a guy out of the XFL. Another guy, I don't even know where some of these guys come from. Like, they're no names. Brandon Cooks was terrible when he was out there this year.
But CeeDee, there was thoughts last year that he is the best wide receiver in the league. So this is who takes the criticism, is got to be the number one receiver. So I thought Jerry Jones should take some of the blame here because they didn't pay CeeDee Lamb and he never had an offseason with Dak to get things right after that Green Bay game. Why were you blaming Jerry Jones? Because the wide receiver core sucks.
They have not built obviously the running back core is so bad that's where everyone gets focused. Like, I really think he's messed up a wide receiver. If you ever find out that he could have traded a 3rd round pick for Davante Adams and did not do that because he wanted to hold on to a 3rd round pick, then he should be fired as GM.
Well, is he going to fire himself?
And honestly, he should have tried to get Amari Cooper back in the building too. They need a number 2 receiver more than any team in the league because everyone knows if it's not to CD, it's a disaster.
Well, I think the Amari Cooper thing is, I think there's probably more to the story there.
Yeah, it's a bad blood. You're right.
But the thing is, they will tell you that the Devontae Adams and passing on Derrick Henry was all about money.
Yeah, it might be true.
See, I think it's patently false. They keep saying that, but I don't think it actually is true.
For Devontae, though, because they have a $60 million quarterback and they have to pay Parsons, how are they going to fit in Devontae?
Well, you just rewind this thing a little bit, and this is what the hosts in Dallas got a stern talking to by Jerry Jones for kind of insinuating this. All the mistakes that were made leading up to this, right? You get Dak's contract done faster, you restructure, you're able to free up cap space for this season. It's a domino effect.
Even if he had cap space, it felt like he was not going Derrick Henry. I'm not really sure why.
855-212-4227. Can you root for multiple teams? Adrian and Maryland. Adrian, I trust you when it comes to the rules of fandom. What do you think?
You can't root for 2 teams in 2 different conferences, same conference, whatever. What if those teams meet, then what do you do then?
Yeah.
But Adrian,
you have no other choice but to, I guess, go neutral. Thanks for taking my call, guys. On this Dallas story, one thing I must say, it's all Jerry. It's all on Jerry. For one, he brings Mike McCarthy in on a lame duck year. You can't do that with any coach because he's not going to – he has no motivation. The team has no motivation. And the thing with Troy Aikman is he's a quarterback. What do you think he's going to say? He's defending the quarterback. CD's running routes. He's being double-teamed. He's being triple-teamed. It's on the other receivers to get open. So you can't say CD's not running his route. Mike McCarthy's got to scheme something up for CD to get open, for other receivers to get open, and Dak's got to trust the other receivers.
But how do you trust him? For example, I know he's hurt now, but Brandon Cooks, did you see him play this year? He couldn't, if there was anything near a 50-50 ball, he had no chance. He's lost it.
Perloff, he was hurt before this happened. Nobody knew about it. That's why he went and got the surgery, whatever he had did. They drafted Tober. He was a second rounder. He's in his 3rd year now. He has to come into his own. So with Troy saying, CD's not running routes correctly or he's not running them hard, he's running them the best he can run when he's getting doubled and triple teamed. As far as Dak in that contract, you have to play it out. I was with you, Maggie, you should have never signed him and let him play out the year and let him have a show-me-it year.
Yeah.
And Jerry didn't do it. He waited to the last minute to sign him, which is crazy.
It was silly.
What he should have did is not even sign him, let him have a show-it year, sign the players like Derrick Henry or whatever he needs to do, put him around Dak and see what it does. If Dak gets to the Super Bowl and wins, you break the bank for him. But
Adrian, I'm with you. Jerry got outfoxed in this one. Thank you for the call, Adrian. Great to hear from you. Jerry got outfoxed by Dak Prescott twice. Dak Prescott's agents deserve to go in some kind of agent hall of fame. 855-212-4227.
Yeah, but Jerry's didn't know that Trevor Lawrence was going to get $55 million. That's what freaked him out. I mean, and by the way...
What do you think it was going to cost for Prescott?
Well, I mean, yeah, so he ended up getting at the number that he was going to get to, but I think the quarterback market shocked a lot of people. Tua got $50 million. That was whoa. So I think he panicked. If those guys are getting $50 million, I better pay Dak now, or otherwise we're in big trouble.
Nick Kostos from You Better You Bet will join us next. Let's try to make some money this weekend, all right?
do. He's mixing up Grey's Anatomy with 50 Shades, it's true. It's shocking how he wonders if women have one too. This basic health stuff shouldn't be so new. It's not some wild scene from a crazy book. Just learn the facts, give a proper look. Prostate's not a 50 Shades or Grey's Anatomy. Come on, Perloff, this is real biology. But I don't care what Glorious Black says, no. I'm here to keep the Bellotti no show. Peter never shows up and that's the real news. Forget Perloff's lessons, I got work blues. He's quoting Meredith Grey, thinking he's so wise. But Bellotti's absence is the real surprise. Forget the prostate chat, I'm tired of the fluff. Peter's out again and that's enough. It's not a scene from 50 Shades or any book. Just learn the facts with a better look. Prostate's the real, but I gotta say Bellotti's gone and that's my focus today. But I don't care what Glorious Black says, no. I'm here to keep the Bellotti no show. Peter never shows up and that's the real news. Forget Perloff's lessons, I got work blues. He's got that hungry look, sitting down for breakfast like a king in a nook. Give me that croissant and make it fucking nice. And don't forget that fresh squeezed OJ is my bite. He's just ordering big, what a fucking sight. $30. He rolls in, he's got that hungry look, sitting down for breakfast like a king in a nook. Give me that croissant and make it fucking nice. And don't forget that fresh squeezed OJ, it's my
1 minute
vice.
remaining.
He's ordering big, what a fucking sight. $30 on breakfast, man, it's out of sight.
45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes. How about that? A walk-off, two-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry.
Wow. Maggie call for that highlight. I just want to point out that was a Maggie Gray call, not an Andrew Perloff call, because I know our next guest did not like that.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Nick Kostos is here. Nick, I didn't even see you there wearing your Yankee hat. I'm so sorry about last night.
Yeah, it stunk. Great to be on with you guys. I will say, just to turn the attention away from my terrible baseball team, that the Cleveland radio call was great.
Yeah.
I've been saying for a long time, I think Brian Anderson is the best television baseball play-by-play voice. His call, and look, I hated the home run, the Noel homer, but his call of Big Christmas with the present underneath the tree.
Yeah,
I just think he's the absolute best. A joy to listen to. Also, I wanted to jam hot pokers into my eyes at the conclusion of the game. But great to be on.
Yeah, great to be on, Nick. Sorry, we don't mean to troll, but you're wearing the Yankee hat. Listen, if you want to take a couple shots at my team, you're welcome to do it. But do you see any? How are you betting the rest of these series? By the way.
So I'm in on the Mets already, which feels just like an absolutely dead position right after last night. I can't believe they lost last night. I'm not surprised they lost game 3. I am surprised that the game went down the way it did last night with the Dodgers really just slamming them in the game and the Mets really having no hope in the game after the Viento second inning homer. So at this point, like I'm letting my bet ride. That's me though. So I would give this advice to anyone. If you have not yet bet anything on the series, I guess like this would be the last game that you could consider betting the Mets. With Peterson starting, if the Mets are indeed even like half the team of destiny we thought they were, they could at least win this game and get it back to Los Angeles before bowing out, obviously, in Game 6 or maybe in Game 7. So slight lean for me tonight towards the Mets. I'm not going to bet it because I already have the Mets to win the series. And then the Yankees-Guardians game tonight, I still like the Yankees in the game, although it is worth noting Gavin Williams did pitch well down the stretch, Cleveland starter in Game 4. Luis Gil, a bit of a mixed bag for the Yankees. I still think the Yankees are a lot better than the Guardians, and I am hoping against hope that the Yankees don't do what they always do in spots like this now and the bats go cold. I would say that if you like the Guardians, I think it probably corresponds to a bet on the under in a lower scoring game. But I mean, Judge is hot now. Stanton's been hot the entire postseason. I don't think you get a Luke Weaver style performance like you did last night, serving up the homer to Big Christmas. So lean for me towards the Yankees tonight. I think the Mets will win, and I think the Mets will lose in Los Angeles.
Speaking of potential tough days, a certain team wearing green comes to New York on Sunday. It feels like
the Jets are in Pittsburgh.
The Eagles feel like they want to lose a game badly. Jordan Mailata's hurt, but the Giants' injuries. And I said this last week. I mean, I know Neighbors is back. I see the spread at 3.5 now for the Eagles. Is this a potential upset with New York against Philly on Sunday?
Yeah, I bet the Giants earlier in the week with the assumption that Neighbors was going to come back plus 3.5. What I didn't know, and this is why betting early in the week can be great because you can get the best of a number, and then sometimes you see a bad injury report and you're like, oh boy. Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence, along with Kayvon Thibodeau, like the three main, and Ojulari's been good too, but Dexter Lawrence is like baby Aaron Donald. Maybe like infant Aaron Donald, but he's really, really good.
He's a big infant.
He's great. I just don't want to, Aaron Donald's maybe the best defensive player ever. Dexter Lawrence is great. And Brian Burns is awesome also. They both didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll see what today's injury report holds for the Giants. Like they need those guys to play with Kayvon Thibodeau out, with Jordan. My doctor said Mailata. My grandpa always used to say that. My doctor, because he always used to get the heartburn. My doctor said Mailata. If those guys are going to play, Burns and Lawrence, I definitely think the Giants can impact like the Eagles passing game. Big time here. The Giants defense is actually good. The Giants are actually good, except for the fact that the quarterback is terrible. Which is not me making it it's just the truth. Yeah. Like the team is good. Like if they had an average quarterback start for them last Sunday, they beat the Bengals by double digits. Like that's just a fact. Like Daniel Jones is brutal though. So if Burns and Lawrence are both going to play Perloff, I'll bet the Giants to cover the spread. I do think the Giants can win the game because I think Nick Sirianni is like the worst head coach in the league. He's like the NFL's Britney Spears, buzzing his hair off during the bye week. I actually think he's nuts. Like I think he actually has a screw loose. And the Giants have the better head coach in this game. Give me Big Blue.
Yeah, the Andrew Thomas injury, though, was also just such a killer, as Nick, you were talking about. Okay, well, let's talk about the Jets. You mentioned Team in Green. They made a big upgrade with Devontae Adams this week. They go to the Steelers, who are changing quarterbacks. I mean, this game has it all. The Jets are a 2-point favorite going into Pittsburgh. Totals 38.5. Do you like any part of this game to bet?
Yeah, I just, this is like sports version of Brokeback Mountain. Like, I can't quit the Jets. I can't stop myself from it. I bet them on Monday Night Maggie against your team. Just a pretty horrific 3 hours of sports betting entertainment on Monday Night Football.
Now I'm glad we played the David Fry highlight.
I mean, but your team won the game at least. Like the Bills won. And I love the Amari Cooper trade. I look at this game on Sunday night, and Russell Wilson's going to start for the Steelers. And the whole idea, by the way, that the Steelers are going to play two quarterbacks in this game. Like, what do people think this is? Like Steve Spurrier at Florida in like 1997? Like this is the NFL. Russell Wilson's going to play this game for the Steelers, and Russ has been cooked for a couple seasons now. And this isn't me saying Justin Fields is the long-term answer. It's a pro Fields thing. I think they're up against it with both these quarterbacks long-term here. I do think Fields is a little better than Russ at this point in Russ's career. And now you add Devontae Adams into the mix, and wow, his hamstring is magically healed. Wow, what a surprise now that he's not on the Raiders anymore, and he's going to play in this game on Sunday night. I don't know how the Steelers are going to be able to score a ton of points in this game, and maybe they can have some success running the ball, but then they have to translate it to touchdowns in the red zone. I'm not sure it happens, so I will begrudgingly, like against my better judgment, because the Jets are the Jets and the Steelers are the Steelers, and the Steelers will just end up winning the game by 3 somehow. I did lay the points with the Jets. Jets, one of my favorite bets of the week.
Nick, I actually listened to every word you say, and you told me early in the season you're not a trend guy, that you think that the trends don't always carry over. But this Patrick Mahomes is an underdog, and Andy Reid coming off a bye. Those numbers are so overwhelming in the Kansas City-San Francisco game. How do you think of this game, given the history of what Andy Reid can do off rest?
Well, I don't know if it's like these are trends. It's like one guy is like one of the 5 best coaches ever, and one might be the best quarterback ever. So it's like, oh, like best quarterback ever underdog, like seems like a pretty good bet. Yeah, I'll do that heading into this game against the San Francisco 49ers. It's worth noting, like with the Super Bowl this past February, there is split betting action in this game, and some people that I really respect that I definitely know what they're doing. Doesn't mean they win every bet. Just like I respect their handicapping acumen. They like 49ers in the game, and we'll point to specific matchups that the 49ers might have, like Niners offense versus Chiefs defense, where the Niners might be able to exploit the defense here. The way I see this game playing out, though, I think it's going to be about both defenses. And I think Kansas City's defense, as the season evolves, is going to ultimately be the story of this team, while the offense works itself into form heading into the postseason. So when it comes down to it, we can play the Reid or Shanahan, Mahomes or Purdy game. I actually think Purdy's been magnificent this season, better than he was last year when he almost won MVP. But the way I'll phrase this is in a clutch spot, which defense do you trust more, Kansas City's or San Francisco's? For me, it's not even close. It's Kansas City. Which D coordinator do you trust more in a big spot? The great Steve Spagnuolo or Nick Sorensen? I think you have to go with Steve Spagnuolo. And then it's the whole thing about Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. So yeah, the Niners can win the game. Obviously, the Niners are awesome. They're playing at home. For me, this is an easy bet on the Kansas City Chiefs, and you live with the outcome and you tip the cap, whatever happens here.
What about the desperation factor? Like the Niners really need a win here. Do you factor that? And the Chiefs can bid a house money at 5-0. Is that a factor when you're looking at the line?
It's professional football. Like every team should be trying to win every game an equal amount, depending on where they are in the standings. In week 18, we can have that conversation, right? If a team that's trying to get into the playoffs is playing a team that's resting its starters. Now, I don't think I think that stuff is noise. And also just, if it were true, it would already be in the betting line and there would be no value to be gleaned from it because everyone knows.
Nick Kostos is joining us. Of course, he's the host of You Better You Bet, BetQL. You can listen to him on the Odyssey app everywhere, BetQL app everywhere, Nick's everywhere. Now, the fact that the 49ers and the Chiefs are playing, I think, is overshadowing 2 other really big games, Nick, that I want to ask you about. One is Detroit and Minnesota, which is massive. The other one is Texans-Packers, not as big in terms of division, but this game is not getting nearly enough attention, I think, for what people expect of both of these teams in the postseason. Green Bay, I saw it went from a 3-point favorite now down to 2.5. How are you betting this game?
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Just your opinion as sports fans, sports analysts, right? You guys watch all the games. Which quarterback do you guys think is better? And this doesn't mean this has to be what you're the team you're picking to win the game. Just curious. Who do you guys think is better? CJ Stroud or Jordan Love?
I can't do it. I won't answer that question.
I don't know if I can answer it either, but if you're water gun to my stomach, I'm probably saying Stroud.
I'll slightly, and I got a lot of flack from Texans fans this week because I said I like Love a little better. I think they're both great. I watch Jordan Love, and Stroud's it's not an anti-Stroud thing, but you watch Love play, like the throws that he was making last week in the Packers-Cardinals game. He's young Aaron Rodgers, and it doesn't mean he's going to be as successful or win a Super Bowl. I think if he keeps up at this pace, I think he's going to win at least one Super Bowl. He's unbelievable. Stroud's great too. I think I like Jordan Love a little better. So at 2.5, not 3, again, think about, you want to make it, or bet whatever the hell you want. If price doesn't matter, I'm trying to give you the best advice. If you like Green Bay, lay 2.5. If you like Houston, make sure you bet +3. The total in the game, Maggie, is 47.5. This has gone from 47 to 47.5 this week. at 47, one of the key numbers when you bet totals. That would be a bet for me on the over with Houston and Green Bay. So over 47 if it gets there. As far as the Lions and Vikings are concerned, if you made me pick the side of the game, I would bet Detroit. I would bet Detroit to win the game, even without the great Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, a tremendous loss for Detroit. Was the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. My preferred bet in this game, though, would be the over. It's currently sitting 50.5. Vikings are coming off the bye. Kevin O'Connell's one of the best coaches in the league. Aiden Hutchinson's out for the season. You would think even if Aaron Jones doesn't play, Ty Chandler, capable backup running back, that the Vikings will be able to score. And on the flip side, everyone rightly has been making such a big deal about Brian Flores. He's the assistant coach of the year to this point, right? The defensive coordinator of the Vikings, the exotic blitz packages, et cetera here. Jared Goff in his last 2 games against the Brian Flores coordinated Vikings defense has had 77 dropbacks, has been blitzed on 57 of those dropbacks. Completion percentage, adjusted completion percentage, 84%, over 500 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So in this deep blue Bobby Fischer chess match between Brian Flores and Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, I'll take Ben Johnson. I don't know if it gets the Lions over the finish line here to win the game. That would be my preferred side, but I do think we see points on Sunday in Minnesota.
Gosh, we're already running out of time. This goes so fast, Nick, every time we have you on. Georgia, Texas. I feel like a lot of people are on Texas right now.
Yeah, so I just want to see what do you have there? Because my screen keeps crashing.
The
5?
updated is 5. Texas is a 5-point favorite.
Yeah, so I think this is a really interesting, how you rated teams going into the season versus power ratings of teams now game, because I've seen smart people, and people might be wondering, right? You might be listening or watching, how could Texas be a 5-point favorite against Georgia? There are some popular projections, and I'm not saying that these are gospel, but that these are things that people pay attention to that have Texas a 7-point favorite in this game against Georgia. Texas's defense, and you can make the argument, well, Texas hasn't played anybody. I don't know if that's true. Texas is allowing right now 6 points per game. 6, not 16, just the number 6. They've been awesome, obviously, right? So I will give a bet for this game. It is not the college bet that I feel best about, but I understand asking because it's the biggest game of the day. I'll take the points with Georgia. I'll give you a narrative reason why. In the Georgia-Alabama game a couple weeks ago, Carson Beck, Georgia's quarterback, I'm sitting there saying, saw you in Parador. He's a loser, baby. And why don't you kill me for betting Georgia in the game? Because Beck's supposed to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. And it gets off to a terrible start, and he's playing terribly, and he's either throwing picks or he's throwing balls that should be intercepted. And I'm thinking, this guy doesn't have it. How's this gonna work in the NFL? He can't get it done, even compete in Tuscaloosa. And then coming out of the half, he slinging the ball all over. They took the lead at the end of the game. He was great. And I'm just telling you that NFL scouts, GMs, they look at stuff like that, and they like that a lot from Carson Beck. So little narrative-y for me here. I think Carson Beck's going to play well enough to at least keep this game close for Georgia. So I took the points with Georgia. I will, in fact, mess with Texas coming up tomorrow.
Okay, Nick, we got to get your upset of the week. And I don't know if this coincides with your favorite college football bet also, because we'll have to sneak that in too. But let's hit the music.
Okay, upset pick of the week. Let me see, because I have 9 million college football picks that I gave out on the show yesterday. So let me see. Do I want to give out one of those? And this is outright upset, right? This is not just... Okay, I'll give you an outright college upset. Let's take Oregon State in Core Vegas +7 against UNLV. Tremendous look-ahead spot. I hate saying stuff like that, but it's also true. UNLV plays Boise and Ashton Genty next week in what could profile as a playoff game when it's all said and done. To get into the college football playoff. Corvallis, very sneaky place to play. I was told by our mutual friend Femi Abebefe that they call it Core Vegas. I had never heard that, but I like it. So let's take Oregon State plus the points, and we can take Oregon State to win. If the Titans, Maggie, were starting me, you, Perloff, Bogish at quarterback, I would pick Tennessee, but we can't do it with Will Levis because he's the absolute worst. So let's go elsewhere here, and let's take Kansas City's a cop-out, right? I can't take Kansas City.
Or Detroit.
Okay, I can't take Kansas City or Detroit. So give me the Seattle Seahawks to go into Atlanta and beat the Falcons. +130 on the money line right now at BetMGM. Seattle +130. We are expecting Seattle's defense to be a lot healthier this week than it was the last couple weeks. So I'll take Seattle. And a bonus pick for you. I would not be shocked if you need Anthony Richardson to start here. If the Miami Dolphins off the bye beat the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. So choice number 1, Seattle. Choice number 2, Miami. And Oregon State State in Core Vegas against UNLV in college.
Fantastic. Nick Kostos, You Better You Bet. Gotta listen to him. Gotta watch him. He and Femi give you everything you need to know. Nick, good luck to your Yankees tonight.
Yeah, I think we need it. Wishing everyone minimal sweats winning bets. The absolute very best of luck. Perloff, let's go Giants, buddy.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Nick Kostos. By the way, a quick shout out to Nick on a totally unrelated note. The fine people at Barrett Sports Media wrote this really nice thing about our show and how much they really enjoy it. And one thing they shouted out beyond Bogish being the best update man in the game, they also loved our segments with Nick Kostos, specifically saying that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if the Eagles win, then I'll support that. But if the Giants, I don't even want Nick on next week. If the Giants beat the Eagles, then I'm gonna sick out. I just can't handle it.
I was wondering, they wrote up this really nice thing about the show, and they said all these nice things about EJ and about Bogish and about Nick and a little about you and me.
Oh, yeah.
What do you like about our show?
No,
Maggie and Perloff. No, they were very nice.
No, that was great. I was so excited, because we've had some bad shows over the years, and if they had been listening to those.
No, they listened for a whole week. This wasn't even a show. They couldn't even cherry pick.
Thank God it was a good week. I mean,
they're all good.
Remember May 22? We really mailed it in that month.
Yeah, thankfully they listened to a good week.
Yeah, it's a prostate awareness week.
They did listen to prostate awareness.
I think their brain was a little broken by my not knowing that women didn't have prostates. That was that set the tone. It was like, whoa, these guys are stupid, which they liked.
Yes, very fun listen, they said, amongst other things. They also said you learn a lot listening to our show, and I was like, how about yesterday's show when I thought there was a Forrest Gump reboot?
About it.
Turns out was not having. Thank you. Mad. Major opinions. I realized I watched that commercial so many times without the sound on. I just figured that it had to be a Forrest Gump reboot.
Yeah, but did you notice that Tom Hanks didn't look like Forrest Gump? Whatever. I don't.
I thought they were redoing everything.
Like Forrest got a new sense of style in this.
It's an alternate universe. I don't know. EJ talks about the metaverse all the time.
I want nothing to do with that movie. The commercial almost made me cry, by the way.
Every commercial makes me cry. Yeah. Okay, we'll just take a quick break. Bogish is here with us, and our breakfast order is here. Okay, don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Squeeze, Tony living out his dream. Perloff with a sigh and a laugh. Paying for the shit, it's his breakfast half. At the helm, but it's a sinking ship. He's running the board, but it's a constant trip. He's leading during breaks, it's a recurring theme. But the real problem's Peter, the one who's MIA, it seems. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're supposed to be working, but nobody knows. You're leaving Nedco to deal with the stress, but he's not doing great, what a mess. Maggie and Perloff, they're trying to keep it tight, but Nichols' mistakes are making it a long night. Oh, he's queuing up the wrong tracks, and the levels are whack. But Peter's absence is the real reason the show's going black. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're supposed to be working, but nobody knows. You're leaving Nedco to deal with the stress, but he's won the game, the liquidless left away, throwing downs and running fast, make defenders pay. But we all know the real story ain't the win or play, it's Bellotti's stake back. They'll dodge another day with the meat. We're all stopping here, promised us some advice, but you always disappear. Stakes on the line, but you're off the grid. The lights MIA, many always hit. Some ribeyes, but you nah, that's not his style. He's out on a vacation, gonna take a while. He bet us steaks, but we'll never get our share, cause Pilati's at home in his favorite chair. Where's the meat? Pete, we're all starving here. Promised us some ribeyes, but you always disappear. Steaks on the line, but you're off the grid. Pilati's MIA, man, he always hit. Packers won, but we won't win this fight. Pilates steaks, I'll never see the light.
And the Bogush had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogush boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew
45 seconds
swaying
remaining.
side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was
30
laughing
seconds
as
remaining.
Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast, but Andrew Bogush grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogush swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. If you miss our interview with Nick Kostos from You Better You Bet, you can always download the Maggie and Perloff podcast and download the free Odyssey app and give it a listen on the rewind function. But Andrew Bogush has headlines for us because we went too late with Nick, as we usually do.
Guys, Game 4 of the NLCS was fairly important. The Dodgers either took a commanding 3-1 lead, leaving them one win away from a 25th NL pennant, or the Mets got even with another home game to go. LA got the win 10-2, with Mookie Betts homering and driving in 4 and then sounding like we were still in May.
Felt pretty good. You know, it's good to feel good. It's good to help the team. And pitching did amazing, keeping them off the board, really. So, you know, it was fun.
Was it, Mookie? Shohei Ohtani led off Game 4 with a solo homer. Then he walked 3 times, scored 4 runs total. His Dodgers have outscored the Mets 39 in the series. They can win the NL at 5:08 Eastern today. The ALCS is a series after the Guardians stole Game 3 from the Yankees, 7-5 in 10 in Cleveland. John Kenzie Noel tied the game with a 2-run homer, 2 outs in the 9th, and then David Fry won it with a 2-run homer in the 10th. So the Yankees now lead 2-1 instead of 3-zip. They play at 8 Eastern today. That 2-0 start for the Saints is now a 5-game losing streak. It was once Derek Carr throwing to Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Now it's Spencer Rattler throwing to Mason Tipton and Bud Means.
Bub.
Whatever. The rookie QB was sacked 6 times, lost 2 fumbles, one of which was returned for points.
Doesn't feel great right now, but if we keep just stacking days and get some guys back healthy, we'll be all right.
Rattler also suffered a hip pointer during the 33-10 loss. I've mentioned Shaheed already. He went on IR yesterday following meniscus surgery in the morning. He is now done for the season. The Broncos, meanwhile, have won 4 of 5 since an 0-2 start. They outgained New Orleans by 118 yards, got 2 rushing scores from Javonte Williams, 4 field goals from Will Lutz last night. Lakers rookie Dalton Knecht scored 35 points in last night's preseason finale, a 128-122 OT win in Phoenix. Knecht scoring 20 straight LA points, bridging the 4th and OT. And finally, this long-distance hockey dedication goes out to Alan Herby in the Big Easy.
Lance pass ahead to Broberg. With Neighbors going to the goal. Neighbors! He scores! Jake Neighbors, the overtime game winner. Bring out the Zamboni. Hofer's going to get an assist. And the Blues beat the Islanders 1-0.
Hey, when the Islanders lose. Chris Kerber, Blues Radio. St. Louis goalie Joel Hofer with the assist on Jake Neighbors' game winner. He also made 34 saves for that 1-0 win over the Islanders. Guys, back to you.
No updates about that swimmer? No?
Oh, the body
I'm
thing.
surprised you didn't have anything ready to roll.
I'm not done yet.
Still scouring the internet?
I'm not done yet.
That's an unsafe search.
She's made every update this week.
She's going to get mentioned next hour. Indirectly, she will be brought up.
So there's a streak going, which you have to keep up. Did you guys, we've talked about this a little bit, that we love the name Bub for Bub Means.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like something you'd say at the end of like get a grip, bub.
Or it's a guy you didn't know. Like, hey, bub, go catch a pass in the NFL game last night.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's an insert for when you call someone like, hey, pal or champ or coach?
Yeah,
or
but
something?
the normal one, the most common one is, hey, bud, what's going on? That means,
Bud, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who you are.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up, pal?
Wasn't there a TV character, Bub? Like
but the kid in Married with Children. Oh, Bud.
No, but like I feel like a little girl, either in the Cosby Show or Family Matters, had a friend that was Bub, and she said it in a way that made the audience always laugh every single time.
I don't remember. I remember Urkel saying, did I do that?
Yeah. Bilotti
People
would
used
remember.
to go crazy over that.
The one time I want Bilotti here, he's not here.
Did I do that?
I mean, there's a little Urkel in Perloff. Maybe more than a little.
But actually, in real life, Jaleel White, total player, though.
I've heard that.
Yeah, much like Perloff.
In real life, what's this?
You view me as part Steve Urkel? What the heck? What?
Don't look at me. She said it.
I
agree, but she said it.
He just agreed vehemently.
I don't know. I think I'm a little offended at this. Steve Urkel?
This is the first time you've heard that?
Yeah, It's like, I don't walk down the street. It's like, wow, there's Urkel.
No, people aren't saying, wow, that's Urkel, but you don't think you don't have a little bit, like Steve was like a smart, nerdy guy. You've never gotten Urkel before? The glasses? No?
The glass?
Tall and gangly?
A little bit.
There's no way you haven't thought of it once. What? There's no way you haven't thought of this at least once.
I'm a little surprised, too.
I've literally never, nobody's ever said
no one even said it like offhand, like in a, like, all right, Urkel. Like if you say something smart.
That's rude.
No, not really. I don't know. First of all,
sorry.
It's been a little while since Urkel, so maybe that's why. But no, I don't think I've ever been called Steve Urkel. But
how about Stefan Urkel?
No.
Not that one either.
I'd take that. I mean, that guy. Yeah, no, I don't remember a lot of Urkel.
I mean, obviously you have a nickname. So that's what people are going to call you. You're a McLovin for so long.
But you also had like 6 high school bullies, we've learned. I feel like one of them back then would have been quick with the Urkel reference.
Well, we all had high school bullies. Back in the 80s, like, you all got beat up. That was like a thing. I don't know if it's like that. Like, Ryan, are there still bullies at high school?
I wasn't bullied, but there are.
Yeah, like it wasn't, you didn't have to be an Urkel to get beat up in my high school. Like just being young was enough to.
Just walking around breathing.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, and actually like some tough guys got the worst bullying, like the bigger, but anyway, no, I'm fine, Urkel, okay. Did I do that? Yeah. You guys are laughing at that joke? I mean, this is such like common denominator humor.
Oh, boy.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
5-3 Yankees. Runner at second, 2 down, 9th inning, and the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and hammered high, deep to left, away out of here.
Tom Hamilton, Cleveland Guardians radio. That was the John Kenzie Noel Big Christmas to you and I. That was the big game-tying home run, Perloff. And obviously the Guardians win it in extra innings. David Fry with the walk-off. And now the Guardians have made this a series against the big bad Yankees.
Yeah, we'll see. Tonight, it's a series for now, but it's still 2-1. I mean, if Aaron Judge and Stan are going to keep hitting like this, I'm sorry. This game was amazing, but it ain't going to last.
Well, I don't know, because I wonder how much does this really rattle the Yankees bullpen, and how much does this rattle guys like Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver, two guys who were giving up home runs last night and really were the reason for the Yankee collapse. I mean, they had this game won. They were down to the final strike. They were going to be one win away from their first World Series since 2009. And now you got guys back there who Clay Holmes has been shaky, was demoted from the closer role. So maybe he's feeling it between the ears. And Luke Weaver, this dude came out of nowhere to become the closer for the Yankees for the most part. So to me, it's not about Judge and Stanton. It's about holding those guys in the back end of the bullpen because that has been a Achilles heel for the Yankees all season.
Yeah, but the Yankees
until Luke Weaver got
the
there.
Yankees got this far really without Judge. So then you add him back. I mean, they were supposed to lose that game last night. It felt like the universe. I was kind of live betting that one, and I had the Guardians.
Once the Judge and Stanton went back to back with
But that
home
was
runs.
like the seventh,
that was late.
right?
Yeah, but
yeah,
still.
I mean, it just felt like the way baseball is like their energy seemed down last night coming into that game. I mean, down 3-0. I thought, okay, well now the Guardians make it a series. I think they were a little shocked by that inning where the Yankees, the two big guys, hit home runs. So and it felt like the Yankees were celebrating already. That being said, I not that I'm any good at picking baseball, but I still think the Yankees win this series.
Well, listen, are they maybe the better roster top to bottom? And you're right, if Judge and Stanton, Stanton has continued to hit, but if Judge is all of a sudden going to hit and Juan Soto's, is due for a big, big moment. Yeah, but you wonder sometimes, the Yankees, this Yankee team doesn't have this great postseason reputation, right? This Yankee team has made it to the ALCS before and fallen apart. So I'm now way in on this series a lot more than I was before last night. And that was just an all-time classic game, too. But you have a good point. If the Guardians don't win the series, does a game like what we saw last night, does that just get sort of left to I don't say the dustbin of history, but it's going to get forgotten?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it does feel like there's so many David Frys through history, guys who hit these big extra inning home runs, but we only remember when they win.
Yeah.
I think of... Did David Freese? I keep thinking of him.
He's a World Series hero.
They won, right?
Yeah, they won. That's why you remember. Same with like a Jim Leyritz, guys like that. Not to bring up bad stuff for Braves fans, but that's like if those big home runs mean something because you went on to win the series.
There must be 10 others that they didn't win the series that we're not even remember. With Carlton Fisk being the rare exception. Like we don't remember if Reggie had hit 3 home runs and the Yankees had lost the series. Like it wouldn't be the same thing.
Is he Mr. October? Yeah, that's a good point.
He's like Mr. Short of October. So I think history will play this out. It does feel like the way I saw this documentary the other day, Maggie. It was a 30 for 30 on the Dodgers, Yankees in the 70s. Feels like history wants that to happen again. That's the other reason. I don't know what it is, fate, but like that would just be that's something baseball really kind of wants and needs. Not that they're engineering it. I haven't seen bad calls like the football does with the Chiefs. Sorry. But I do think that like it kind of feels like history wants a Dodgers-Yankees matchup. Does that make sense?
Well, you're talking to a Mets fan, so no.
I mean,
a gigantic no, and also I'll add on a how dare you. To say that this is already written like in the stars, I hope you're wrong.
Every narrative is
wrong.
Cleveland finally winning a title would be awesome too. That'd be a great historical thing. A Subway Series is always very fascinating. They almost can't lose, but Yankees, Dodgers, Shohei versus Judge, I mean, that is perfect.
Well, let's not fast forward this thing too quickly because I'm loving these the NLCS has been a little tough, but I'm sure for Dodgers fans, it's great for you, I'm sure, to watch Shohei hit and to watch him hit with nobody on.
You're not...
Heaven forbid,
I just don't want to lose you if the Mets are out. I want you to keep that enthusiasm up for whatever's next because I did that a little with the Phillies. Like when they lost, my heart sunk a bit.
You got to mourn a little bit and then you get back.
But luckily, everyone knows I'm a Dodgers fan too.
Get out of here with that. 855-212-4227 if you want to talk about baseball from last night. Felt like we were watching a classic game. And thank you to the Guardians for giving us a little bit more drama. So this weekend, I know you don't love to compare NFL and college, Perloff, but I would say the biggest game of the weekend, headliner, both college and pro, has got to be Texas, Georgia. This is the game. This is what we've been waiting for ever since the conference realignment to put Texas into the SEC. This is super fun. No disrespect to Alabama, Tennessee. No disrespect to, I don't know.
Well, Alabama, Tennessee would have been big if the teams didn't lose.
Yeah. Miami, Louisville. I don't know. Anyway, the big headliner is Texas and Georgia. So I want to do a little like who has the edge here when we're talking about some of the key pieces to this game. So who do you give the edge to coaching-wise in this game, Kirby Smart or Steve Sarkisian?
Sark.
Why?
I mean, that guy could scheme me open. He's unbelievable. Okay, I'm picturing Kirby in the Alabama game. Like, he is losing his cool this year. What's going on with Kirby?
Yeah, he can't push people either, which I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten more reprimand for that.
It's amazing. I mean, last year I would have said Kirby Smart's the premier coach in the sport, but I feel like Sark's on a heater. So I'm going to give Sark a very slight edge, but not a game-deciding edge by any means.
I'm still on Kirby Smart as the better coach in this series because they've played a harder schedule to this point, and I know they've lost, but the one thing that Kirby Smart is lacking right now with their team is they just come out flat.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to change. It has to, right? At some point, don't they have to understand? Don't they have to diagnose, like, why was it still a game at halftime against Clemson? What happened against Alabama? Kentucky. I really think that they have to have self-scouted, say, we've got to get off to a faster start. And you're going to go down, if you go down 2 touchdowns in this game, I guess I'll never underestimate the ability for Georgia to come back after what we saw in that Alabama game, even though they eventually did lose. But you can't live this way. It's too dangerous. So if they can get off to a fast start, I still believe that Kirby Smart is the better coach. All right, quarterback. Who do you give the edge to? Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck?
Carson Beck, actually, believe it or not. Just because, Ewers, do we really know? Is he fully healthy? And we haven't really seen him in a big moment like this season. I feel like Carson Beck figured it out. I mean, his number, I feel like whatever was happening that first half at Alabama, he's been pretty darn good since then. The problem is his receivers are kind of in and out of the lineup. That's definitely an issue. But I feel like I'm a little bit, it's weird because Quinn Ewers could win the Heisman. I mean, he's 4th in odds right now. I still am giving the edge to Beck.
Yeah, missed some games though. Do you think that matters for Ewers in the Heisman?
Yeah, definitely. But he's still, I think he's 4th in the odds.
I'm going to give the slight edge here to Ewers, and I guess this is because I've seen him in some big games play really well. And I don't know if
which one?
Well, last year in the college football playoff. I feel like I've seen him a little bit more rise to the occasion. I still worry. Carson Beck's played much better since that first half in Alabama. I'll give him credit for that. Give everyone credit for that. That was trending towards an all-time just grenade of a game and could have sunk his draft status and stock and everything. To his credit, he came out and played really well in the second half, but I give Ewers a little bit more of an edge in a big game like
I was surprised you're not bringing up Ewers' backup as part of a combo platter.
I was going to, but I thought you would dismiss it.
Yeah.
The fact that if Ewers plays bad, just bring Arch right in off the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, defensively, who do you give the edge to?
It's funny. Texas is getting all this love for their defense. Nick Kostos was on last time. Honestly, this is such a who do they play. I do not look at Michigan right now. So Texas beats up Michigan. That's not meaning much to me. And then Oklahoma was playing a backup last week who really did not look very good. So that's
He's a freshman, too.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously Georgia's defense has been a problem this year, which is bizarre. I blame the NIL era for them not being able to stack 5 stars at every position. I guess I give a slight edge to Texas with the actually I'll give a legit edge to Texas, but there's such an unknown because I'm not wowed by shutting down a team like Michigan.
Yeah, I'll agree with you just because, again, I guess maybe the standard for Georgia's defense is just so impossibly high and that they haven't lived up to that standard this year. So for that reason, I'll also give the edge to Texas and their defense so we don't have to belabor that. Okay, final one, and this one is very, very important. Texas, Georgia, who do you give the edge to mascot-wise?
Oh, wow. I mean, Bevo's terrifying. Like I don't think there's any live mascot who could take him down in a fight.
Bevo, an actual steer.
Yeah, with the long horns.
Yeah. An actual cow.
Ugga's so darn cute. What Ugga number are we on?
I think we're on Ugga 12, but I got to double check that.
I'm going to go, since it's in Texas, I'll go with Bevo.
Yeah.
It's cattle country right there, baby.
That is, I mean, the cattle, the bull, the everything. Although I guess I'm going to have to take a bulldog here. I don't know.
Can I tell you two more thoughts on this? Like the fact that Ohio State, Oregon was so crazy last week and there's about 3 plays that it was a coin flip either way. I wonder if this game's going to be the same way. And the same thing with Alabama, Georgia. Like, we're going to be staying up late on Saturday night and something bizarre is going to happen. That would be my vibe.
Well, the other part, you wonder, what are we going to learn after this game? Because say it is a game that comes down to, like Oregon and Ohio State, it's a 1-point game. Like, we talked about this with Brian Jones, a CBS college football analyst. Can you really say Oregon is slam dunk the better team?
That's what everyone tried to do last week. They're making huge narrative sweeps out of that game.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of parity of these top 10 teams.
I do too.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm wondering, no matter who wins, can you definitively say, I know this is the better team? Like, you win by 2 touchdowns. Okay, that's different. But I don't think anyone is expecting this to be anything but a 1-score game.
I've seen, actually, it's funny. I think there are a lot of experts who think that Texas, first of all, their team speed is crazy. Like, everyone thinks that Texas's athletes are just going to run right past Georgia. And I guess I think of Xavier Worthy, like, they are just fast everywhere. They'll hit you left, they'll hit you right. And then the other thing, Georgia, their receiver room is such a mess, and it's their own fault. And is their defense good? So I think for Georgia, is the defense real? Like, is it good? I think that will be answered. Don't you sense that, like, this is a real challenge?
This is a test.
So
we saw the test against Alabama, and it was not good.
Let me ask you a question about this. If Georgia loses, over, or are you still okay? I mean, that's tough, right?
I mean, over for the SEC championship game.
Yeah, which might be good because that would be a third loss.
But maybe you get in as like a later seed and then it actually works out well for you.
How about, can we set on, if it looks good in a loss, say it's a last second Texas win, because the Alabama game was close, 41-34.
No, they took the lead at one point.
So this is big. Georgia has left on their schedule Ole Miss in Mississippi. So that's a tough game. And they have Tennessee. Who knows what Tennessee is? So there could be another loss. I'm very curious about a 2-loss Georgia team. It's going to be, people who don't like the 12-team playoff, there will be no lack of debates.
What UGA are we on?
11.
What did you say, 12?
I said 12, sorry.
That's a good guess.
I got to go with UGA.
What Bevo are we on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm assuming they have a new one of those every year.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to ask this, but like...
Don't say it.
Does Bevo become Porterhouse after the season?
No.
What do you think? Wait, no. I mean, it's a cow.
I'm not a vegetarian, so I get it.
Where do you think steak comes from, Mag? It comes from mascots.
We are at Bevo 40.
40?
Yeah.
Yep.
When did Bevo start? Did they make a couple of seasons?
1916.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, so they have been multiple seasons. I would have thought you maybe get a new one every year.
No, there's only been 40. Was that 40? Yeah, 40. 40 of them.
That's a good life until the end.
Well.
Yeah, let's not think about that.
Yeah, no.
855-212-4227. It was all going great. Okay, Ryan Dempster, World Series champ, obviously major league pitcher for over a decade, working now for MLB Network. He's going to join us next. I want to know, how are these relievers, how are they going to pick themselves back up here from the Yankees after a dramatic loss last night? We'll get to that and a whole lot more next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
in his hand.
3 minutes, 30 seconds
Wakes
remaining.
up at dawn, coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, pine needles are tuned in tight to infinity sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In the words you find your life.
3 minutes remaining.
Scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Dalton O'Brien. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Got his fingers moving, stepping non-stop. Dropped with all the knowledge, never gonna flop. Dalton O'Brien.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
With his love for the show, there ain't no doubt. Every episode, he's always in the mix. Leaving comments for the host, he's got the tricks. Dalton O'Brien, he's a YouTube star. With his quick comments, he'll take it far. Our favorite citizen.
2 minutes remaining.
Lord, Marion High, where Perloff was a nerd. Ernest was a football star, his name was heard. But fast forward now, who's the real champ? Perloff's on the mic while Ernest is just a stamp. Oh, Ernest Pendleton thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete.
1 minute,
Never
30
shows
seconds
up,
remaining.
can't keep a seat. Well, Artie's got a talent, it's hard to deny. From missing work, like it's pie in the sky. He's the Houdini of the office space. Gone without a trace, not a single face. Oh, Ernest Pendleton thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. And speaking of kings, let's talk about Pete.
1 minute
Never
remaining.
shows up, can't keep a seat. Andrew Rose was hurt on top of
45 seconds remaining.
Uncle Greg's got a problem, his liners can't
30
be
seconds
found.
remaining.
The man in every team sport never seems to end. From the Bay to the city, San Francisco's looking rough. But the real question is, what Peter Bellotti is tough. Oh, Uncle Greg seems to run out of luck. But Peter Bellotti, he's nowhere, what the heck.
15
Forget the
seconds.
defeat fans, forget the end zone. Cause finding Bellotti's like finding the unknown.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. What a huge weekend of sports. We didn't mention the Liberty could win the first New York title in over 100 professional seasons. For me,
Got your facts right on?
yeah, it's like 104, I think.
Is that but the Yankees won in 2009? Is that
Yeah.
no?
Season team
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah, yeah.
And adding
it
them all
was
up.
100 like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So is it 104 now?
It's the whatever. That's a big enough number for me.
Yeah, it's over 100.
It's
So
the second Giants Super Bowl. The most recent one is the last. Well, I guess unless you count NYCFC's MLS Cup thing. I don't
There
know.
were people here. Anthony Gallo went to the parade for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been an incredible drought. And I've always thought the Liberty are going to be the team to break it. But tonight, all I care about is how does Jake Bogusch do at the Mets game?
Oh, he's going to be good. He's going to be the good luck charm. What are your seats like?
Oh, we have seats. That's all I can tell you.
You're actually sitting at the U.S. Open Tennis Center and with a pair of binoculars.
If that was an option, I would have considered it after seeing the prices for the actual seats.
Not to mention
in the, actual
the
stadium.
lines at that stadium for the bathroom and the vending, whatever. Not a fan.
Now, if you time it up right, You could do it. Like, not miss a pitch.
Really? They have a really cool little food area, but every line is like 25 minutes just to get like a fancy taco.
Yeah, but you wouldn't bother that today. That's for the regular season. We're not waiting for fancy barbecue or Shake Shack today.
Playoffs. Oh, you're dialed in.
This is a baseball game. Today it's a baseball game.
It's either chicken fingers or a hamburger. We just got to get whatever, sausage or something, whatever they're selling at every kiosk.
No. Like a normal baseball game is an entertainment product for a kid. This is not that at all.
Listen, mid-season, the Colorado Rockies are in town. Maybe that's the time when you get the lobster nachos and a helmet,
Can I ask about celebrity sighting too? Who's been at the Mets games?
Well, Seinfeld. Wait, has Seinfeld been there?
Yes, Seinfeld was there. Last night, Colin Jost, Scarlett Johansson were there, and the guy that's super popular right now from the Domingo sketch on SNL this past Saturday.
Oh, my God. My daughter has played that Domingo sketch about 100 times.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Do you want to tell people what this is?
Not really. Do you want to explain to it? I can. It involves Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, Marcelo Hernandez?
Something like that.
So they did a spoof on the Espresso song by Sabrina Carpenter, and it is the bridesmaids at a wedding singing about the bride cheating on the husband on this bachelorette trip with a guy named Domingo, who comes in at the end of the song to confirm that things happen.
And who is that guy? Because I said, is that a cast member?
He is a cast member, but I don't know.
Oh, he's so funny, though.
Yeah.
Marcelo, I don't know his last name. He's Hernandez?
Mm-hmm.
So good.
How long has he been there?
A couple years now.
Since at least this past Saturday.
And now he gets to throw out the first pitch. No,
yeah, that's how it gets stuck in your head, by the way. And I assume the original Espresso gets caught in your head.
Well, actually, but I know the words to this song. The Espresso lyrics are very, they don't follow syntax. They are weirdly ordered. And so, but this one I got a handle on. Straight from Domingo.
Two quick pop music things. I'm sorry. Only because it's Friday. My daughter is now obsessed with Chappell Roan, much like your daughter.
Wow. How did you get to that before her?
I am. Not my daughter.
No, my.
Bogut was booking a one-way flight to Lollapalooza.
I was bummed. She was supposed to play, kind of nearby where I live, and she bailed on that show.
She is exploded.
Gotta stop talking politics, man.
Yeah. But her popularity, her
mental.
concerts, I heard are real. She's gotten really popular. The kids love her. Another thing, did you guys see the viral video of the guy who wrote a Rihanna song, who is actually, as a joke, was stringing together 80 pop song lyrics?
Yes, I did
That's
see
amazing.
That. It's her song SOS.
Yeah.
And one of the second verse of SOS, which we'll find as Bogus is doing his headlines, and we're waiting for Ryan Dempster. It's all just the lyrics from 80s songs strung together as a joke.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll find everything for you in Bogus.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I will still be listening to your update, though, while
It's okay. You don't
searching.
have to. That fantastic 2-0 start, which included blowing out the Cowboys in Dallas, has crumbled into a 5-game losing streak for the Saints. The Superdome emptying out long before the clock hit 0 on last night's 33-10 loss to the Broncos, and Alvin Kamara gets it.
If I was a fan, I'll leave too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not good enough right now. For whatever reason, we got to figure it out.
Kamara ran for just 10 yards on 7 carries. He caught 6 passes for just 14 yards. He's one of the few healthy Saints stars these days. QB Derek Carr missed his second in a row. Top receivers Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed were out, with Shaheed now done for the season following meniscus surgery, and the O-line was again down 2 starters. And then there's Dennis Allen's defense, which let the Broncos keep the ball for over 33 minutes.
I think as coaches and as players, we have to do a better job. We got to do a better job throughout the week. Our preparation, we're making mistakes that we shouldn't be making.
Had the Broncos scored touchdowns instead of kicking 4 field goals, it might have been worse than a 23-point loss. The Mets are 0-2 at home in the NLCS, losing Game 4 last night, 10-2 to the Dodgers, now in the dreaded 3-1 hole. They don't have a hit with runners in scoring position the last 2 days, leaving 20 men on base. Here's Francisco Lindor.
You got to execute when people are on base and help your pitching staff. So, we just got to continue to grind our bats and have some timely hitting.
Against Jack Flaherty in Game 5 tonight, he shut them out for 7 innings in Game 1. First pitch in New York is 5:08 Eastern. The Yankees and Guardians play their Game 4 at 8:08 in Cleveland. The Bombers lead 2-1 after dropping yesterday's thriller 7-5-10. The Guardians getting a 2-run homer bottom 9 to extend the game, and then another to win it in that 10th.
Would you rather be Big Christmas or Big Sexy as a baseball
Big
nickname?
Sexy, thanks for asking.
Bartolo Colon obviously was Big Sexy, and John Kenzie Noel is Big Christmas.
My friend was wearing a Big Sexy Mets t-shirt giveaway when we watched Game 2. I should tell him to put it back on for Game 5 tonight.
Doesn't matter if it's at the bottom of the hamper.
Nope.
Put it on.
Here's an evergreen headline. Kawhi Leonard's reportedly out indefinitely.
Yeah.
It's a lingering, as we know, right knee inflammation for the Clippers star. We're roughly 90 minutes away from some answers from UVA men's basketball coach Tony Bennett in 11 Eastern press conference to discuss yesterday's abrupt retirement. The assumption remains that Bennett is the latest coach to get sick and tired of the NIL landscape.
Wait, can I ask you what if it's, let's say Tony Bennett never coaches another game? We have no idea why. We know it's not a health concern though, so it's not something dire, right? It's his choice, presumably. What do you remember him more for? Being the first number 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed? Or do you remember more for winning it all the next year?
Absolutely winning it all.
I kind of think they're the same thing.
Yeah, it's part of the whole same story.
Right?
Too.
Because when you say, because I think I would start with they were the first one to lose to a 16, but they came back and won it the next year. Like they're
resilience then. So you're basically saying
there.
I remember the win.
You can't have one without the other though.
Okay.
I think
that he gets helped by the fact that we got another number 1 seed that got upset since then.
Well, I think he really gets helped by the fact that he won a title.
That he
if
won
it was
the next
just
year.
that,
right?
If it was just losing as the first one,
he would have been gone years ago if that had happened, because that's really hard to come back from.
Stuff I've been reading today is overwhelmingly positive about his legacy because honestly, UVA had no right winning a title.
Right.
They don't have and except for, we talked about this before, except for DeAndre Hunter, have they had an elite player come through there?
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think if this was something bad, if this was a scandal or something where he's resigning in shame, then I don't think he gets a press conference, because I think that they would make that go away quietly, not, for lack of a better term, promote it. You know, because he means so much to the history of the program.
Oh, absolutely.
Hockey last night, the Canucks got their first win, 3-3 in overtime in Florida, while the Stars lost for the first time, 3-2 in Washington. And you wanted your Luana Alonso mention for the third time in 4 days on the show.
I don't know if I wanted one. I was just waiting for it.
Okay, so this is not at all about her, but this is next level Olympic drama. She's maybe too naughty for the Olympic Village. This is Canadian former Olympic snowboarder Ryan James Wedding. He's from Canada. He lives in Mexico. Our FBI wants him as a fugitive, $50,000 reward for information leading to his arrest because he is an alleged drug trafficking kingpin, like murders and stuff.
I saw this. It's like if Walter White, instead of being a chemistry teacher with a with a fatal cancer diagnosis, instead was a former Olympic skier.
There's probably a joke in here about half pipes and pipes, right? Now that I think
pretty
of it.
good. Now, you said living in Mexico. I think he's on the lam. Like, I don't.
Who was living in Mexico?
He was. I thought he
Excuse me.
disappeared to Mexico to try to escape the authorities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a big one. This dude,
Wow.
and they think that some murders that he allegedly either committed or was an accessory to were actually mistaken identity. These people may not even deserved what they got, which is awful. So yeah, he went from Olympic skier to drug kingpin in like not a lot of time.
I mean, this is 3 movies that are streaming somewhere now. This is a perfect plot.
What if he marries Taylor Swift? Let's just bring it all together.
Yeah. I mean, remember there was a movie about Jeremy Bloom, the Olympic skier. His sister was Molly's Game, was running these Hollywood car games and became super famous. And he was a NFL draft pick. And was he drafted?
No, he was. I don't know if he was drafted, but
he was on
played
the
at Colorado,
Eagles.
right?
He played at Colorado, was a medal-winning
mogul skier.
And his sister was this infamous person that was played by Jessica Chastain in a movie. But this is even way better than that. This is like combining Breaking Bad and I don't know
Cocaine Bear and Narcos.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Narcos on skis.
Narcos Salt Lake City.
No, Narcos on there's snow, the other kind of snow.
This is amazing.
But
right. I was gonna say we're right on the nose, but
Yeah, I don't think we nailed that. I don't think we landed the plane on that one.
On the snow and
Hey,
snow? We traded one kind of snow for the other snow?
There you go.
All
Okay,
right,
that
gotcha.
actually makes sense.
Right, we're in the writer's room here. This is not.
We're
Yeah.
spitballing, guys. Come on. This thing's going to get greenlit, though, either way. It sounds like Mad Libs a little bit. It's like, and once there was a Canadian Olympic skier who got busted for cocaine drug kingpin. I don't know. That sounds made up.
And this is not new. He's been in trouble since like 2010. He's been convicted before. I don't think he's allowed in Canada for the last 9 years. Like, he's not a newbie. This is an established bad dude that we're after again.
I mean, geez, he's like...
Allegedly, in case he's listening on the Odyssey app.
Uh-oh, he's here. That's not somebody I want to run into. Yeah, the guy's like, who's the famous drug kingpin from Colombia? El Chapo? It's like El
he's from
Chapo on
Mexico.
skis.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry,
God.
Mexico.
Don't you watch Narcos?
I didn't. Wow. I don't watch anything.
What's the famous drug kingpin from Colombia? El Chapo? I mean, come on.
I'm sorry.
Pablo Escobar.
Oh, sorry, Pablo Escobar. Who's El Chapo?
He's the Mexican drug kingpin.
I'm getting my drug kingpins mixed up. It's like getting your mafia or overlords mixed up. It happens.
But a young El Chapo is in a Narcos season or two.
Yeah, I know he's a big part of. They did Narcos Mexico. Is Ryan Dempster there, by the way? Because I have an El Chapo story that I could share at a certain point from this week.
That you want to share with World Series champion pitcher Ryan Dempster, who's about to join us? All right. Well,
unless he's hearing this, because that I would be embarrassed. But I live in Brooklyn, and El Chapo's lawyer is in federal court right now, around the corner from my house. And there was about 500 people waiting outside the courtroom because he got basically El Chapo's lawyer bribed somebody, and it's on trial right now. Hey, if anybody from the cartel's listening, I had nothing to do with it. But it's a huge, huge story.
Wow.
And El Chapo was on trial down the street from me as well. So he used to come, they used to have a motorcade come back and forth with him when he was on trial. He's a big deal.
Okay, so definitely. But here's the thing. If I may, I want to go see this, right? I don't know. I guess it'd be like, you think this is fun or interesting to go see where El Chapo's on trial? Like, that's the one I would not go see.
No.
Because something weird could happen.
Yeah, they intimidated a witness.
Yeah. There's something weird could happen in the crowd. Maybe they're trying to get some chaos going. I don't know. That's not one I would go like, oh, let's go check out the El Chapo trial.
So when this Canadian skier turned drug lord is on trial, you're not going to go.
I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go as like a celebrity. Well, it's funny because Ryan Dempster is actually from Canada. He's a two-time All-Star and a World Series champion. He's also the co-host of MLB Network's Intentional Talk with Kevin Millar and Sierra Santos. It airs before every LCS and World Series game, including today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Ryan Dempster, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And no, I do not know the snowboarder. Even though we're from Canada, people used to always do that when I would be playing, especially early on. I'd go play professional baseball, and everyone's like, oh, I know somebody from Canada. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, what's his name? Like, come on, dude. It's like bigger than the U.S. It's the same size, or at least.
You don't know Jim from British Columbia? That's crazy. We thought you definitely knew him. I was going to play the name game. Well, I guess not. We have to talk about baseball. No, thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us. It's such a pleasure for us to talk to you. And this is the best day to be talking to a former pitcher because of what we saw yesterday. What an epic, instant classic between the Yankees and the Guardians. And what we've been asking ourselves and our audience all morning is if you are both Luke Weaver and Clay Holmes, how do you pick yourself back up after you were down to the last strike? You had them, and then home runs get served up, and all of a sudden you lose the game.
Yeah, you got to find a way really quick to turn a switch because, both of those guys, really Clay Holmes has settled back in and been nasty, kind of what the Yankees were expecting. And then, Luke Dream Weaver has been, kind of this godsend for Aaron Boone to be able to go to him in the bullpen. And, I will say this, and we think that it's just so easy to always point to the pen for your closer in the eighth inning. And it has some success sometimes, but it's not always the easiest thing for guys just from a mental perspective. But at the end of the day, you got to tip your cap to Noel for hitting the home run. I mean, he sat there and takes a changeup and absolutely launches one into the atmosphere. So, yeah, you got to bounce right back. You got to be ready to go because you're going to be called on again today, and then you just got to go out there and make good pitches. But for the Guardians, what a feeling that must be
to get to their relievers, to get to a couple guys, because those guys, especially Weaver, has been unstoppable for quite the stretch right now. So what an instant classic. You're right. What a game. I just couldn't believe it. It's like watching a heavyweight fight, just back and forth, big knockdown after big knockdown. So that was a blast.
Ryan, you've been obviously in playoff series. If you look at the overall team of the Yankees, is there a chance, like it was so devastating last night, that they have an emotional downturn for the rest of the series?
No, this is playoff time. Things like this happen, man. Like, you know, I can channel my own experiences. Like, I remember we went to St. Louis in 2013. We win the World Series. And in St. Louis, we lose a call on an obstruction call at third base, lose a game. You know, Will Middlebrooks falls down. Alan Craig falls over top of him. Dustin Pedroia throws him out at home plate. We think we just, you know, and they scored, and the umpire's like, nope, instruction, you lose. We were angry, like really angry, and guys were pissed off. Guys were yelling at reporters to go out and talk to the umpires. Jake Peavy got fined, I think, for yelling some stuff. I mean, and the next day, nothing, not a word about it. So you don't have time. That's the one thing you know as a pro. You don't have time to worry about an inning ago, let alone a game ago. Those guys would put their head on their pillow last night, wake up, and your only focus is winning today's game. That's it. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're not thinking about yesterday. You're just thinking about today's game.
Ryan Dempster is joining us. You can watch him on MLB Network's, Intentional Talk with Kevin Millar, Sierra Santos. It airs before every LCS and World Series game, including today at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we're your warm-up here, Ryan, and thanks again for doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's turn to tonight's game. Luis Gil and Gavin Williams. Now, we understand when hitters have long layoffs, this is the worst thing that could happen for them, right? Because you lose, being able to pick up the baseball or all the things, right? The rhythm of hitting. But these are two pitchers who haven't pitched in a while. How does that impact them, if at all?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just controlling movement. You know, when you've had long rest, your arm feels better. You feel stronger. So you got to make sure you're controlling movement. What I mean by that is, you can throw through the movement. If you're normally pitching you're already going to have an extra adrenaline rush because you're pitching in a CS. The crowd's going to be going nuts. And sometimes we can throw, kind of through that. All of a sudden, if we're 93, 94, or 95, 96, now you're a ticker 2 mile an hour harder. The ball maybe doesn't break the way it's supposed to. You might, be, kind of throwing through breaking balls. Sometimes you can spin them up there instead of having the nasty bite on them. But those guys, I think that's stuff that, teams really focus and pay a lot of attention to and have open conversations with their guys about. And it'll be interesting. I think Luis Gil's got a chance to be really nasty tonight because he did this before when he missed time on the IL and came back, and he was lights out right out of the gate. And then for Williams, I think, just it's going to be a short kind of leash anyways. I think more than Luis Gil, I think he's going to have that, constant eye on him in the dugout. If he's throwing well, he stays in there. If he's having any hiccups, I imagine Stephen Vogt goes to the bullpen right away. So I just think it's one of those things where, you got to be careful not to overthrow. At the same time, it's hard to control that adrenaline in those moments. But these guys, are coached very well, and they'll be ready to go. And for Williams, don't walk anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You walk the guys on the Yankees, you're going to pay for it. We saw it yesterday, 2 out, Juan Soto walk. Next thing you know, Judge hits a homer. It just, you have to make them earn it. I know they're good. I know they're superstars. I know they hit the ball at the ballpark. But the easiest way to defend that is get ahead in counts and be aggressive and kind of take the punches to them.
Man, can you give that memo to the Mets?
Yeah,
Stop walking, guys. Oh, my goodness, Ryan.
Yeah, is it
I don't know.
Mets lack of control, or the Dodgers just so patient? Like, what's happening here?
A good combination of both. But really, it appears as an outsider, and it's hard, right? I'm sitting on my couch watching it, and I've been in those moments. I've walked 7 guys in a playoff game. I remember what that's like. And if I could go back and tell myself something, it's like, stop trying to be so perfect. Like, there's a reason you're pitching in these moments is because your stuff's been good enough. And we feel like we need to be perfect. We need to carve on the corners. What the Dodgers do so well is when they get count leverage, when they get ahead in the count in these 2-0, 3-1, 1-0 counts, they don't chase your pitch. So if you fall behind in the count and you think you're going to get them to chase a nasty breaking ball, they're not going to do it. It's not happening. The only way you get them to chase those pitches is if you get ahead in the count. So you have to pound the strike zone. You have to split the plate. If they hit the first pitch you throw for a homer, then so be it. But like, you have to find thirds of the plate versus an eighth of the plate, which it looks like the Mets are trying to do. And I don't care if you're pitching against the Chicago White Sox in June, or you're pitching against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the NLCS. If you walk 29 guys in 4 games, you're going to be down 3-1. It doesn't matter who you're facing.
Ryan Dempster is joining us. He's a World Series champion. He's a 2-time All-Star. He is the co-host of Intentional Talk on MLB Network. They're on today at 1. Ryan, we do this thing called Celebrity NFL Picker. Now, I'm not sure how big of an NFL fan. Obviously, you got your hands full here with baseball, but we have 3 games for you. Would you like to pick them for us and be our Celebrity NFL Picker? Now,
I'm in 2 fantasy football leagues, either which both I would not like to mention my record, but it's still early in the season, and I have lost the top point getter a couple times. No excuses. I should have been better. I should have placed a better lineup, but I am fully ready for this.
What's the name of your fantasy team?
I got a couple. I got weak names, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm one of them I don't want to mention on air. I don't think it's appropriate. And the other one is the other one's Demp Squad. It's just
Yeah. I thought
very simple and basic.
Yeah, listen, I've got a World Series ring and you don't. Could be. I don't know if it's too many characters.
Wow, I'm gonna change. Maybe that's it. I needed more swag with my team. I'm gonna change my team name today.
A little intimidation. Okay, Ryan Dempster. Here's a couple games for you to pick. We tried to match up a little with some cities you pitched in, but a lot of those teams happen to be on their bye week. Anyway, let's go to the Bengals and the Browns. You pitch for the Reds. Bengals are a 5.5-point favorite against Cleveland. Who do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to take the road team here. I think the Bengals will put up enough points. I think what's going on, it's the dysfunction in Cleveland never stops with the Browns. I don't know, they obviously can't win games, and their defense is tough. I will say that. But the way that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are going right now, and for the Bengals, this is if you're going to be in it, you have to win these games right here. I know they got a weak schedule in the second half of the season, or weaker schedule, so they need this game right here, and I think they win this game handily.
Look at Ryan Dempster. Why don't you go to NFL Live, my friend? Okay, 2 more quick ones for you. Only got about a minute or so left. We'll give you the Super Bowl rematch. The 49ers and the Chiefs, they've actually played in 2 Super Bowls. 49ers are a 2-point favorite at home.
Yeah, you know what? I like the 49ers at home. I think they're playing a little bit better football than they were early on, and I think the Chiefs are champions, and Patrick Mahomes always shows up. I think the San Francisco 49ers defense shows up. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think that the Niners pull it out and win by a field goal.
Okay, and then finally, you had one of the most memorable seasons of your career, obviously, in Boston. The Patriots with Drake May, they're in London. They're playing the Jags. The Jags are a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to take the points right here. I think that Drake May has shown progress already. I think he looks good in the pocket. He doesn't panic. He's got him and Douglas seem to have a good little mix going together. They found each other last weekend quite a bit. And I think being on the road in London, it's not down at the home ballpark in Jacksonville. And speaking of struggling, Jacksonville was just struggle. And I think, 6 points is always my favorite line to take the underdog too. It's like you want to take the favorite because you think they're going to win by a touchdown, but I love the +6, so I'm going to take New England on the road in London on the double road trip as the visiting team.
It's an MLB Playoffs.
I know. You can't fool Ryan Dempster.
It's an MLB Playoffs.
Vegas, you can't fool Ryan Dempster.
You should
he
be
knows
calling
about your
games
lines.
on Amazon on Thursday nights instead of Herbie. You're incredible.
Ryan Dempster, the multi-talented Ryan Dempster, of course, is a World Series champion, a 2-time All-Star. MLB Network's Intentional Talk with Kevin Millar, Sierra Santos, airing before every LCS and World Series game, including today at 1 p.m. Eastern. By the way, your setup looks fantastic. It's great to see you. Thank you for doing it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Enjoy these playoffs. Enjoy some football this weekend. A lot of good games, college and pro. So have fun. Enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
We'll do college football next. We'll get him on the WNBA finals. Ryan Dempster knows it all. Okay, we got to take a quick break. We're back with our picks next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL Picks.
And college. Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, we got to get to it. Our records as it stands, Pearl. I'm coming off a 5-0 week. My record is 20-10.
Take notes out there. Maggie is on fire right now. 4-1 the week before.
Or due for a regression. You are 16-14, though, Perloff. You're holding your own, coming off a 2-3 week. 2 college picks, 3 NFL. Let's get to it. For my college picks, and I'll just go first here. I'm going to take Illinois. I'm going to take the points. They're +4. 4-point underdog at home welcoming Michigan. This is a big game. So you got number 22 versus number 24. I just think Illinois has been, besides the Penn State game, they have been really amazing. This is an unreal season for them. At home, give me the points. For my over-under for college, I'm going to take Georgia and Texas, and I'm going to take the over 57. We talked a lot about Texas's defense, Perloff, but have they been tested? And I think this is a huge, huge game for Georgia. We know their defense is not as great as it was. So I think a lot of scoring. I'm going to do over 57. You want to do your college picks and we'll go to pro?
Yeah, so Miami, Louisville. Miami's always exciting and it's always high scoring. The number's huge, 60.5. Still, I mean, this is just pure sheer joy. I gotta have juice on Miami because it's just so exciting. So I'll go over 60.5. My game, this is I've just been reading a lot this week. Everyone's down on Michigan State, so I'm going to jump on them while they're down. I'll take Iowa, which I got a 5.5 point favorite at FanDuel, 6 point on DraftKings, but I'm going to take the 5.5 number, Iowa over Michigan State.
There you go. That's our college picks. Now for pro, we do 3 picks against the spread, over, under, and 1 player prop. So for me, I'm going to have my against the spread and my player prop are connected. I'm going to take Detroit plus the 1.5 on the road against the Vikings. I understand Minnesota's coming off the bye. Detroit coming off a huge win over the Cowboys. Despite losing Aiden Hutchinson, I do think they're the better team. And with that, give me a Amon-Ra St. Brown over 6.5 receptions. It's a lot. It's a lot considering they have all these weapons. But Perloff, if this is going to have to be an offense first team as they have been, Amon-Ra St. Brown has to be involved, and I'll take the Commanders-Panthers over 51.5. Good weather in D.C. Commanders overs have been good to me.
Love it. All right. Did you do your...
Go ahead. Yeah, you're up.
Okay.
You got less than a minute.
Wait, did you do your prop and your...
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I got Travis Kelce over 60.5 because when you're in trouble, go to Travis Kelce.
Over how much?
60.5 receiving yards. 60.5.
60, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I have the New York Football Jets. I got 1.5 right now against the Steelers. That seems obvious. And I'm actually going to stick in that game. And this is going to kill me. I'm going over on these 2 terrible offenses. 39 points.
It's not that many points.
It's not that many points. I'm buying the Devontae Adams narrative, and it's going to kill me. Like, they're going to make sure this dude does something, right? Like, the entire universe wants Devontae Adams to score.
I imagine his props are going to be pretty well bet on. Okay, there you have it. Those are the week 7 and 8 picks. Maggie and Perloff, college and pro. You can find them at Maggie and Pearl on X if you want to follow along.
I was too busy writing down your picks because I'm totally bad. I'm sorry not to put pressure on you, but I'm throwing out at least a nickel on every pick you just made because you are. When you're hot, you're hot. I mean, and you are red hot, Maggie Gray.
Is that how gambling goes? Thank you so much, Ryan Botcher, Nico Scarlatos, thank you so much. Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan, Ryan Dempster, Nick Kostos, the Weedos and the Coffee Drink. Thank you. Have a good weekend.